Good Boys Gone Bland, Season 6, Episode 7, Princess Diaries 2. I am your co-host, Denali of California.
I'm your co-host, Ryan, also of California. Fantasy World, man.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I'm your co-host, Jace from Genovia. I know it's weird that I don't have any type of non-American accent.
Yeah, you don't have
Oh,
your
that's
accent,
fun. Yeah, the Genovian accent, which is very clear from this movie. What's that accent again that they have?
It depends.
And then from the delegation of another land, we have another host. Please introduce yourself to the court.
Hello, my name is Joe, and I am the head of security in Genovia.
Oh, damn, this guy.
Oh,
You could have been from Genovia.
Oh,
That
yeah,
would've been good.
that sounds made up.
Yeah,
is a made-up
Genovia is
country.
totally, yeah.
Genovia is a real country.
Well, that was a good shtick, guys. Welcome back to the show, Joe.
Hi.
Joe's rejoining us for this season. Joe from Comics Coda fame. Thank you for coming back and reviewing this movie with us, Princess Diaries 2. What have you been up to, Joe, since you last been on? Like, I know it was kind of a big deal for you to be on our show, and like, have you been kind of like been approached? Like, has anyone kind of recognized you? Like, how has it kind of like changed your life or impacted it?
Were you
Yeah, I
fired?
get recognized on the phone a lot for my voice because it's a podcast.
Yeah.
So, people, I get voice recognized, but not facial recognition yet.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. And it's kind of annoying too. Like when you're talking like to customer service or someone on the line, like, hey, aren't you from Good Boys Gone Bland? I'm like, yeah, I'm Denali. Like, oh, whatever, get over it. Like, seriously.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens to me. I'll get calls from scammers, and then
Yeah.
they just want to know about what I thought about Speed with Keanu Reeves. And I'm like, why would you ask me about that? I already talked for 2 hours about that one. Just ask me about a different movie.
There were a lot of cuts, and I could tell
Yeah.
that you talked more than what was in the episode, and it was a great performance.
They noticed the edits.
Did Jace just out himself as a customer service rep?
What?
Thank you for coming back on, Joe, in our Anne Hathaway season. We only have a couple episodes out right now. I think we're closing in on our recording schedule. But have you listened to any of the Anne season yet?
Yes, I have listened to Princess Diaries 1 as homework for this. So
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, it's very...
I listened to that one, and then I watched it last weekend, and then I sat through this one. Number 2.
Oh, I like how you use the different words. For the
Loaded
Well-
language.
That doesn't necessarily mean something negative. I mean, you sat, surely.
I
He
actually
sat the
I
whole
actually-
time because he couldn't get up. He was so engrossed.
That's right.
We only have a TV in the bedroom right now, so I bought these glasses that have mirrors
Oh my
that
God.
face this way, so I can lay flat in bed and
No.
watch movies at 90 degrees.
Are those
It's like
real?
way better for my back.
What the fuck? Those are real? Like, I always thought those are like gag glasses, like where you can watch something while laying down.
Yeah, and the funny thing is I actually started using them, and it's kind of like, they're really stupid, but they were $10 on Amazon, and it's the best $10 I've ever spent on Amazon.
That's the dumbest and most genius thing I've ever heard.
I bought them for reading books because I was like hunching over a lot, but now I can't use them with books because it's too hard to turn the page with like the weird perspective. like I tried walking through my house with them, and you're just staring at the floor the whole time. You can't see anything but your feet.
Wait, please help me with this mechanics. Wait, so you're holding the book perpendicular to your body by your stomach, and you're reading straight forward?
Or
some
flat
of these
on
books
a table.
are like £6 because they're like 1,200 pages, and it's really uncomfortable.
What the fuck kind of... Are those comic book textbooks?
Yeah, they're just like full runs, so it's like over a year of comics like crammed into one book.
Well, they got pictures in them too, so
I
the
didn't know
words
that
are more
was-
spread out.
But what I'm
You
getting
guys-
at is, when I said I sat through the movie, actually half
Yeah.
of that was laying flat on my back watching the movie with glasses.
So you said I laid through the movie.
Yeah, I laid through the movie. But
Do you think you can drive with those on, like, legally? Like, because if you kind of recline and
well,
you
the
can
thing
probably...
is, you can. You just have to sit with your head tilted all the way back.
What if you have a booster seat so your face is near the ceiling, so you're pretty high up and you're laying down in the car, but you're still laid down. I guess you have like horse reins to kind of move the steering wheel,
a long
and then
steering
like
wheel, yeah.
and then a stick to hit the gas and brake pedal. Is that like legal to do, you think?
I don't know. I tried. I did. They don't have a good nose bridge, but I tried
Yeah.
wearing them upside down too to see what it'd be like if you're just
Oh,
staring
interesting.
at the ceiling while you're wearing them. Also just as hard to walk.
Does it work though?
For watching TV in bed, flat on my
on
back,
the ceiling?
it works, and that's about the only thing it works.
I feel like it'd be really good for stargazing or like looking at the northern lights. To sell glasses that let you look up, right?
Dude, that's nuts.
TM, up glasses.
It's not
TM, we flip them. We can't TM that?
You would have to get a patent.
You'd have
probably.
to patent it.
Well, I thought when we say TM, it just kind of like it's
The
No, that's
patent
a
appears.
trademark. It would
TM
be
is
like
a
a name or
trademark for
symbol.
copyright law.
up glasses.
There you go. You could do something like that, but
we'll
that
take
might
up
be a little
glasses.
too descriptive.
Yeah. Well, and they'll be like, "What's up, glasses?" Nothing much. We've been doing the show too long together. But Joe, I mean, you marathoned kind of Princess Diaries to kind of catch up on this. Like, you've immersed yourself in the world of Genovia. Do you guys? I'll open this question to all of us. Like, do you guys kind of have a bigger perspective about the world this inhabits? Like, do you get a better idea of this country as a whole?
I think the weird thing for me is that, like, I listened to your guys' episode, and I think none of you had seen it before, but, like, I watched Princess Diaries, like, 5 or 6 times when I was a kid, and Princess Diaries 2, like, once.
Oh,
So I'd
okay.
already seen these, but it's been so long. And when I watched Princess Diaries 1 last week, it was, like, really enjoyable because it was, like, mostly in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And then this one, because it was in Genovia, it just felt so much goofier. I feel like it did worse for Genovia being in Genovia than leaving it as, like, this elusive, like, unknown.
And I think the implication with Genovia, and Ryan, you might have touched on this when you texted us too, like, Genovia is definitely like a weird colonial war crime country, right? Because there's like, when they're in line to introduce like all the Genovians, there's people like all different accents. Like they're like an Italian guy and like a Spanish speaking person and like another person who like spoke French. And I'm like, oh, so Genovia like conquered all of these areas and like it's just...
And then lost them all.
I was thinking it was like a isolationist, like neutral country where like people who were in some sort of scandal in their original country could come and bury all their money and live without being deported.
So okay,
Australia?
so
Extradited.
Yeah, it could be a tax haven. But I feel like they also probably have nukes. I mean, we discussed that before, like their swing with other countries. You know, other countries are kind of giving them the time of day.
Everybody in this country's a freaking moron.
I think they got nukes, dude. I mean, like, you know, a
We
lot of
have
countries have nukes, and they're more fucking morons.
The U.S. has a bunch of
let's-
nukes.
Let's be real here really quickly. Like I told you guys earlier, I didn't take any notes, but the only thing that I like really stood out in my mind was there's a scene in this movie where she's trying to escape, like the princess is trying to escape out of a window, and while she's doing it, the 2 main security guys are playing chess. And then the maids who see her hanging from a rafter in mortal peril start putting pots and pans on their head and singing Frere Jacques to distract the queen from seeing her almost die.
And the queen is like,
This is the level of competency.
Good impression, Denali. I love it.
thank you.
This is the level of incompetency of this country. Like that's like the head of their departments.
I had a debate with Julie because she told me, she's like, you have to drop your realism standards because this is in a fantasy world.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, no, it's not. It's in our world, and it's just a fake country. Like it's just like our world has another country. And she was under the impression that it was more like, not to the extent
Like
of
an alternate.
Enchanted, like a fairy
Right.
tale, but it's essentially a form of a fairy tale.
Well,
And
But that's what I mean when I say that, like, San Francisco works so much better because
Yeah.
they teeter on that, like, hey, this is real.
yeah,
But
it's
like
grounded.
Genovia is like this thing that just exists. But in this movie, because they go there and there's like really, really detailed, ornate paintings and murals on the walls, and then the secret tunnel has like stick figures that were drawn by
orphans.
someone's intern. Like, it's really confusing about the world and the history of Genovia.
Yeah, and
because
I wanna-
they have like some of the worst stick figure mural paintings in the very beginning of the movie with a secret door with a bust like it's freaking Adam West in Batman 66.
Well,
I do have a question to poll you guys about
okay.
the lore of Princess Diaries. So,
Okay.
I read the book, so I know.
when
There
I
we go.
watched the original, I thought Genovia was probably one of the only, or the only one of maybe one or two, tiny little protectorate countries off in Europe somewhere that nobody's ever heard of. But in this movie, we see like 20 different princesses.
Yeah.
And I want your opinions on whether or not there's these countries all over the world. And there's a bunch of other people, not quite in Anne's position, but like there's a bunch of other princesses who are about to take over their own countries too.
Including 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
Including 5-year-old princesses.
So you think this is like a feudalist future, kind of like Dune, where everyone kind of has their own fiefdoms, and Genovia is just one of many.
Right.
And like all these other delegations. Because they even mention England. They're like, oh, it's Prince William. And I mean, maybe, yeah, it's like kind of like a medieval thing where they all just kind of come of age. Maybe America has a queen and king as well. But to get back to what Julie said, Ryan, like I think this is a fictional universe because I mean it takes place in the MCU because you have the Allfather himself show up, Stan Lee.
Oh yeah, I was confused about this.
So this does take place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I think they should have had a Wakandan prince in the mix.
Yo, that would have been tight.
We can't get too far ahead without giving a synopsis. I feel like we're
Yeah,
already
okay.
in the middle
Why did
of
we
this.
go straight into movie talk? We
Let's
have
go
Joe
into
here. We're going to
got
do
Joe.
improv. I don't want to be talking about the movie right now. I'm kind of bored, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. We got Joe here. You guys want to do improv?
Yeah, just to
Yeah.
give you some background, I did
Yeah.
improv for like 7 years. I taught improv. I became the leader of an improv group.
Yeah.
That we semi-successfully
Improv
ran
cult.
for like a year, and I would love to just watch Ryan and Jason do improv.
Oh, so you've peaked in your own form, and now you want to come learn a new style?
A sabbatical.
Learn from the masters
yeah.
of a new school?
Yeah, we can call it that. I would like to get schooled in everything not to do. You know, like in the math textbooks when they have the examples of how you do do it the wrong way.
We've been told we kind of have like a unique improv routine, but it works. We have our own flavor, and Joe, as like someone who has studied the art, we welcome you to our improv house, and we'll enjoy showing you how we shit on your art as well. So
The
would
GBGBI.
the GBGBI is
The I stands for
improv.
something. Improv.
Good
Good
boys
improv.
gone bland improv. So yeah, like because I didn't prepare a quiz today because we've been doing a lot of quizzes. Joe, I sucked you in another quiz, and I think Jason Ryan, I've put them through enough recently. So we'll do a little improv bit, and I would be remiss to not let a professional as yourself. I don't want to hype you up, Joe. I don't want people to think.
The bit last time was that we couldn't get under 50% funny, and the quiz was like we were like 51% for like 10 minutes of that quiz. We were just teetering on the line. I was like, this is gonna blow.
Yeah, I mean that exploded that time. But this time we have more of a free-form thing, and this movie's full of gags, so I figured we can get our yucks on and just do some improv, and maybe you can coach us a bit, Joe, because I've been coaching a lot, the past few seasons. I've been these guys' improv coach. I think percentage-wise, I've done like 1% more improv than these two, but it's nice to have a professional here. So
yeah, I mean, we can talk about one thing real quick. I'll just throw this out there.
Yeah,
I don't want to
please.
throw a bunch of textbook stuff. So Ryan, the first rule of improv is just say no to everything.
Yeah, that's good. No,
Just
but
shut it all down. You know
Yeah.
what's really bad for movies and any kind of storytelling is momentum.
that's
Yeah. If you
need to
know where
be-
the scene is going and you feel it propelling you forward, your story just sucks. You really want to stay
Well-
somewhere and not
I'm not
move.
going anywhere.
they call us the linebackers of improv, where we just take the concept and we just stop it in its place and push the other direction.
Yeah. So, but anyways, colors really quick. It's just character, objective, location, relationship. So those are the 4 first things you want to establish in a scene.
Oh.
But color has 2 O's.
Well, location is L-O. That's
What about-
no?
What about the U?
Yeah.
underwear?
Oh, that's only in improv over the pond. That's an improve.
I'm actually not
improv.
wearing underwear.
Oh,
I just got these shorts today. That they're like half swim trunks, half athletic shorts. They have compression shorts that they're like weaved in.
Yeah.
Is it mesh like underneath?
No, it's like a compression short.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
What
it's pretty
brand?
Cool. They're from Target, baby.
Oh, nice.
Nice
nice.
place to get my clothes. And I spilled fish tacos on them 20 minutes after I put them on.
Does it wick away the fish taco? Because they do sell those.
No, this is actually a pretty good fish taco barrier.
Yeah.
So
my dad convinced me Target. Sorry, I don't want to get us off topic, but Target was like a French company, and I told that to hundreds of people throughout my entire life.
Probably thought you were hilarious, dude.
And last year, I looked it up, and they're based in Indiana, and I felt like the biggest idiot in the world because I fell for a dad joke really seriously.
Oh, we exclusively call it Target.
I tell people things that you've told to me in the past on a pretty regular basis, and I guarantee the things that I'm saying are false. So I guess it runs in the family.
I spread so much misinformation.
How many people have you told that Genovia is a real country?
Oh no.
The main
Next.
exports of pears in the world is from Genovia.
Where's it actually from?
Oregon.
Bartlett, it's a country.
The real answer was Genovia. You non-believers.
Gotcha.
Improv is hard.
Okay, so what I got here, and Joe, you might have listened to previous episodes where we do improv. Some people say we do it too much, and I say, here we go. So I got two generators. One's from CanIGetIt.com, our favorite, but I also have a new one. It's called Lulu's Improv Generator, and that's a different one. And I guess we can do like a round robin, maybe. Would that be fun? Like I can
don't know what that would imply.
What we normally do is we go at a certain we do it so each of us does the tango with another person. So
Gross.
Ryan does improv with me, then I do it with Jace. Jace does it with Joe. Joe does it with Ryan, and then me and Joe do it together. And we all have done the deed together.
God.
And
Hey, you two
I'm
do
fully
it now.
expecting
Watch.
half of this to get deleted. I want to sign a paper that says I have final edit on this fucking shit.
oh no, baby. And then we do a scene, all four of us together.
The only one I
don't know how
don't want to
We'll
watch
unravel.
is Denali and Ryan. I want to just listen to that one.
All right, let's do it.
If you wait, if we save that one first, if we do it first, it has the most probability of being absolutely fucking bonkers and following no rules and being somehow anti-funny. But like, if you wait for it to be the last one, then it might actually be somewhat decent.
Yeah, or we can just set the bar so low at the beginning that everything looks good in
Improvement.
comparison.
Yeah,
all
I
the
mean-
audience has to do is be able to sit through the first one.
Have you listened to our Daredevil episode?
I have not.
Exactly.
I think
I
our first
started with dogs, and I listened
Oh.
to half the BVS one before I got so mad.
Yeah,
that
I know,
left,
Joe. You didn't
and I
like the
didn't come back
BBS
until
one.
Dogs.
What's the BBS one?
Batman versus Superman. Is Joe has it? We can't do it. We can't do this.
We can't do it, but it's
can't
my
do this.
favorite movie of all time. So
I know, Joe. It's okay.
I'm setting the bar so low.
Okay, so I'll do Lulu's improv generator. For me and Ryan, we'll start us off. Okay, this is a new generator. I don't know how this is gonna go. Okay, they have a scenario button. I click scenarios, and the scenario we have is at a funeral home.
Hold on, I need
And
to
then-
check the temperature on my chickens.
Oh yeah,
That's a
please check your
location.
chicken.
That's a location.
Hey, shut up down in front. Hey,
You finished 25% of color.
you got one strike, buddy. Ushers are gonna take you out. You think you could do this? You think improv's easy?
I was worried.
I know how to deal with hecklers.
I was worried because they're not
Think
under the
it's
lamp.
easy? Oh yeah. Is that Joe? How do you deal with hecklers as a comedian?
It depends, because like improv and stand-up are two totally different things.
Oh,
You look them in the eye, you say, my mental health is already teetering. You watch yourself as you leave here tonight, because one of us isn't making it home.
Dude, you
And
guys.
then-
So,
say,
And then they say,
have a safe night.
dude, I was at Dimitri Martin last night,
Oh yeah, Brad.
and
blast from the
it
past.
was a cancer benefit show,
Okay.
and before the opener came out, this woman and this guy come on stage, and they're like, "Hi, we're obviously not Dimitri Martin, ha ha ha, but we want to give you a word because tonight's about cancer. It's a cancer benefit society, so we're gonna give it a little 2-minute speech, and then we'll get on the road." And this guy sitting right behind me is like, "It better be funny."
Oh no! What the fuck?
He caught himself. I think like it didn't say it very loud, but he's like, "Yeah." It was, oh my god.
I mean, he probably donated like $50 to the benefit though. Like, is the karma
No,
equalizer,
definitely
right?
not.
Because he bought the ticket though.
Definitely not. I didn't know it was a cancer thing before I showed up. I just
Oh,
wanted to see
okay, well,
Dimitri.
I
But there were
the
there
only
were
time
there weren't
it's
hecklers.
not okay, but like if he had cancer,
He definitely
Oh,
this
man.
guy was like straight out of Guitar Center.
Can't
And there was
see
a couple
cancer, Ryan.
anti-Guitar
Can't
Center
always
jokes
see it.
too, which I thought was great. And he didn't laugh. I was paying attention. But there weren't hecklers last night. There were
Okay.
a couple people who took Dimitri's rhetorical questions
Yeah.
as like actual questions, like you're in conversation with the
I
person.
hate that. Yeah.
It's a good thing it wasn't a Seinfeld show then.
Why?
Because he. Oh, it's like,
Because
what?
pretty
what's
much
the
all
deal
he
with-
does is ask questions.
Hey, what do
Oh,
you guys ever? Yeah. Okay, let's get to the improv. Our scenario: at a funeral home, emotion/characteristic is regret. Environment, helicopter, and genre is disaster.
Oh, okay.
So we
Ready
have
to go?
at a funeral home, regret, helicopter, disaster.
Ready?
You need some
Okay.
Foley work?
We're going down.
Okay, and I guess scene. I'll scene myself. Scene.
What?
Is there an end word?
That was
Normally
it?
we have a goal.
Oh, do we have a goal word? Okay, the word is cheeky. We have to work into the scene. All right, Joe. We need very specific parameters to do our scenes.
You can make all this up, by the way. That is an option.
Okay, and scene.
Does that mean start? I thought that mean end.
Listen, man, I don't care what it means, but I just need you to seize control of the situation right now.
I can't. You know I lost my license in Nam.
You lost your helicopter license?
Yeah. That's why I always ride in the back. I'm the one who drops the caskets.
Oh God. What? Oh, jeez. Okay. Listen, I just.
This one's all rigged up. Let's get it
Cool.
Fort Stars.
Yeah, we just need to get this delivery going, and it's a stat order. So, but if you can't drive the helicopter,
I
that's
love
kind of
the smell of napalm. Thursday on
Huh.
12:45.
yeah. So you like the smell of nape? That's cool. What are you, like 80 years old?
Nah, I was no. This is Agent Orange stuff, you know.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That's weird. So can you pilot this helicopter and get these
Pilot,
coffins delivered?
You're the one driving.
Okay,
We're
I
15
could fly. I've never
We're
done that.
15,000 feet over San Clemente.
We're on the ground in a funeral home, but that's okay. Listen, are you
Oh,
all
I can
there?
hear
Like,
them
are you?
coming.
Yeah.
I can hear them coming.
Is that the weekend? What is this? Okay, that's all right. I'll get in the co-pilot seat.
They're in the brush.
And we'll
They're in the
load
brush.
coffins.
The
Yeah.
trees, I can hear them. Can you hear
Yeah,
the
you
trees?
can hear them. We're all good. We're all good in here. Okay, so how do I turn this on?
Drop them.
Okay.
You drop them, I load them.
Yeah, we're gonna drop these off real good. So okay, I got the keys in the ignition. Should I just turn these?
Oh, helicopters don't have keys.
All right, don't
Keep
get
'em
cheeky
running.
with me,
We
pal.
don't shut them off. We gotta go. Charlie's in the
And
bushes.
scene.
That's the scene.
And then we fulfilled the disaster portion because of the scene.
The scene wasn't. That's what I was going for, actually.
All right, great. Joe, notes. Any notes for our scene? Positive notes.
Positive notes
I
for
have
me.
notes.
Negative
Yeah,
notes
and
for
positive notes,
Natalie.
like any type of notes you have.
Yeah, probably the first note is like,
Yeah.
don't make fun of veterans.
Okay, Joe.
Probably the first note.
Okay.
Or the
All right.
disaster that is Agent Orange and the deformities caused
Yeah,
by
to my
Yeah.
vocal cords.
my stepdad
Okay.
fought in Nam actually. So
Okay.
It's a
So
disaster. It's
that
terrible over
was that was a negative note. But do you have a positive one now? Now that we've learned something.
no.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. We don't need to always
No,
have
I
positives.
actually, after listening to a lot of improv, I really appreciate Ryan's dedication to the character this time around. I feel like
Oh.
I've never heard him really stick to something.
Yeah.
And that was, I mean,
like
he
that
was
too.
committed to something I wouldn't have committed to, but he was committed.
I'm bad under pressure, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I make
And then
I
the
make a
other thing I
decision
was-
in the first half second of the skit, and then we just have to go with it.
The funny thing too is that like I kind of like talked about momentum, and I like that Denali was offering you all of these things, which is like we call it an offer. Is like he's like, oh, so you're like 80 years old, and that's like something you can run with, and instead you're just like, nah, I'm not 80 years old, and he's like, oh, you're a pilot. He's like, I don't fly planes. just like killing every one of Denali's offers.
That's so funny though.
Yeah,
think
you're
that's so
treating Denali's
funny.
offers like a shooting range.
I think it's so funny because
Fuck you, kid.
I like to hear him be like, "Oh, now I have to think again."
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Like instead of instead of like treating Denali like he was your scene partner, you were treating him like he was like interrogating you and you weren't giving him anything.
You won't make me talk, you piece of shit. I'll never talk.
Yeah, so get ready when it comes back around and we have to do a scene together.
Oh yeah,
That's gonna be great. That's gonna be like
Because
Obi-Wan and Darth
that guy's
Maul.
making a return.
All right, Jace, you and I, let's do this. I'll use Lulu's again. That was fun. Lulu's is a fun generator.
why is there
and
two
tasteful.
locations
I liked,
though? Location
yeah,
I like
and
that it
environment
was
are totally
very
competing.
tasteful.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay, so Jace, we're on Noah's Ark scenario. Emotions, characteristics, surprised. Environments, construction site. Okay. And
Well,
then
you're gonna hit Vietnam and religion in one podcast.
listen, okay.
Joe? Joe, we know why your TikToks do well. They start with a decisive comment, okay? You
Yeah.
know? So we're trying to get ours.
The genre is a whodunit. It's on a construction site. The word is cricket.
So are we on?
So we're on the environment we're in is a construction site. The scenario is Noah's Ark, okay?
You're building. That actually works.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
works
we're like
really
building the ark or something else.
So, okay.
Okay. All right. And scene. Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. You think
Yeah.
he's gonna let us on this thing?
Oh, totally. Oh, totally. He's cool. Like, he said we gotta get all the animals and all the people, onto the dang boat.
I saw him only bringing 2 of each.
Oh yeah. I mean, what'd you see him bringing on?
Oh, there was a dragon.
Yeah, dragons, of
For
course.
sure.
Gotta have
Yeah.
those.
2 penguins.
2 penguins. That's enough, honestly.
That's weird. A
They
lot
all
of
look the
birds.
same. Yeah. They got rooms for all. That's the thing I don't like. Is all the bird houses we gotta build. There's
Yeah,
so
it
many of them.
It doesn't make. They can
Right?
just sit on the outside.
Yeah, exactly. He won't listen. He won't listen to it. I keep telling him every day, and he's like, hope we got enough room for you. Oh, you keep making comments like that.
I'm kind of worried about the 2-person thing.
Yeah. You think he's gonna have 2 people? I thought like the animals. There's 2 animals. That's enough for them. But the people, you gotta have like you gotta have a
There's
variety.
a lot of them. Yeah.
Well, who do you think his number 2 is? You think it's his wife? I don't.
You don't want to be stuck on your boat with your wife.
Ah,
with a bunch
come
of
on,
animals.
am I right? Ah. Tell me about it.
I don't know what the word is.
I've been hanging out with him a lot, actually. He's a pretty cool guy.
You've been hanging out. I haven't had any time to. I've been.
Oh, you've been working on this.
There's a lot to go on with the trellises and forming these beams. This
Yeah,
boat
he's
is
a pretty
huge.
cool guy. Yeah. No, he's really into a lot of interesting stuff.
He keeps me. I probably worked like 90 hours this week. I'm starting to think that maybe we should kick the animals off and form a union.
You know what? I like the sound of that. I'm sick and tired of all these crickets taking up spots on a boat that we're building.
It's just 2 crickets.
Okay, that's maybe not a good example.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the word?
It was crickets.
Oh, damn
And
it.
It also matches. It also matches the scenario, which is what the noise would be during our
You know what's
scene.
really funny about that?
Yeah.
Is I love the idea because like I grew up kind of religious, pretty religious.
yeah.
So like the Noah's Ark stuff hits too close to home.
Oh yeah.
But I'll say this: I love the idea that Noah had a bunch of people working on this boat, and then they formed a union, and he was like, "Whatever, boat's 95% complete. I'll let them all drown, and then I'll just write a book where I said I did it myself."
I swear to God, that's what Jeff Bezos is doing like right now.
I'm the only survivor. Who's gonna know?
The animals built the boat.
He's like, that was all me.
You think-
Seth and Jephthah, or whatever their names. I think he had 3 sons, right?
Did he bring him on the
Obviously,
boat?
the religion didn't stick.
Yeah, who got onto the boat?
I think
it was-
Did he
it
have
was
a wife?
him- Yeah, it was him, his wife, and then his 3 sons and their wives.
Did it
Oh,
kill
what the
everybody
fuck?
else?
And if you ask
Yeah.
Mormons, they like landed their boat in like Utah, I think.
Yeah.
Or something. Or they originated in Utah. I don't know. There's a lot of like.
I thought it was Palmyra.
Yeah, it's like a lot of stuff is like in America.
Because like the plates were found like right here.
Yeah. Brian's at ground zero. So that was a fun skewering of mainstream religion, and that's kind of the hard-hitting stuff we do here. We're kind of like off-the-wall comedy.
We do vets who were drafted.
Yeah.
And then we do established religions.
Yeah, so
I was trying to tackle more anti-work, you know.
We're gonna have to throw away half this improv.
Down with the man.
All right, that was another good round. Jace and Joe, I guess I'll give you guys a scene. Joe, if you don't mind, I'll give you the scene.
Yeah, let's do it. Do you have a notepad, Ryan? Or Jace? Are you taking notes?
No.
He's a good improver. A best improver takes notes.
I'm not gonna write down the keyword. Just
looks like Steve from Blue's Clues.
The scenario is on a spying mission. The emotions is immature. Your environment is a zoo. The genre is a slasher film.
Oh my god.
The word is Da Vinci.
I might need a notebook too.
Yeah, it's too much stuff. It's like once you added the slasher film aspect, I feel like
let's take away slasher.
What? That's the best part.
Spying mission. We had a slasher season, Ryan. You had enough.
How do you have a spy slasher film movie? I'm just kind of confused.
These are great. These are great movie premises.
That's actually not. Yeah, that's actually hilarious.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Spying mission on a zoo. Immature is the emotion. Your word is Da Vinci. Is that workable? I think that's workable.
That's workable.
All right. Imagine the characters in your head. I'm going to coach you guys. I'm going to coach you too, Joe. So remember the first rule of improv, yes and just find the scene and action.
Hey, Daddy. Yeah. Daddy, I'm so glad you brought me to the zoo for Bring Your Kid to Work Day.
Yes.
At the spy mission.
Yeah.
I need some popcorn.
You've eaten a quarter of a bag 3 times, and then you've thrown it. Okay. We gotta come with me. Keep walking.
Okay.
Keep walking. Okay. I need you to speed
chipmunks.
up. I'm gonna pick you.
Chipmunks.
Yep.
Chipmunks at the zoo.
They're
walking. They're not even in a cage.
So, you see that person right there? You see him? We're gonna go get popcorn. We just gotta be right behind him. Okay.
Okay. Hey, Mister, do you have popcorn?
Oh, he's such a rascal. He doesn't have the popcorn.
Okay.
The guy on the popcorn stand has the pop. Okay. How old are you again?
Dad, I'm 6.
I'm sorry.
Today's my birthday.
Happy birthday, son.
You took me to the zoo on Bring Your Kid to Work Day because it's my birthday. Mom said it's your weekend.
That is true. Okay, look at me. I'm sorry. Do you want some ice cream too?
Yeah.
With that popcorn?
I want some ice cream and popcorn together.
Ice cream and popcorn together? Okay, we got to get the popcorn. Come on. We got to get the popcorn.
Okay.
You in the top left corner. I need popcorn right now. Here's $20. Don't ask me any questions. Give me the popcorn.
Okay, Dad. Thanks for the popcorn. Oh, this is really loud popcorn, Dad. I hope you're not trying to spy on anyone.
No. Okay, I'm right.
Hey, Dad, who's that man over there?
He's okay.
He has a briefcase that says Da Vinci. What's Da Vinci?
Da Vinci's the name of. Oh my God, this isn't even my kid. Somebody take this kid. I'm gonna kill him.
Daddy, where are you going?
I like how we're examining every type of trauma.
Yes. Now we have divorcees and
child abandonment. Great. So I guess I'll do some notes because I'm kind of co-coaching because Joe and I are equally as experienced. It was an interesting choice to choose to play a child, and Jace, you did a good job kind of in playing off of Joe and doing kind of the popcorn work, and Joe, you did a great job with Foley work. I like Foley work. I'm a sucker for it.
Foley.
Now, Joe, do you have any critiques for my critique?
No.
It's pretty good. Okay, sweet, awesome.
Yeah.
Great. So
now we're gonna do 2 heavy hitters.
Joe and Ryan, the 2 heavyweights.
Yeah.
We'll have you guys go.
We've gone through 3 scenes so far, and none of them have had characters with real names. So
I guess that's kind of hard. Huh?
You're supposed to name the characters?
Is that a
Okay,
rule?
we'll do that. We'll do that this time. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Okay.
We'll give you a name.
This next one's gonna have names.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll do that.
Ryan and Joe. Scenario: visiting the dentists. Emotions: dismissive. Environment: flooded basement.
Well, how is
word.
it flooded? Oh, okay.
Constitution.
Okay.
So you guys ready? And
What was the emotion?
the emotion is dismissive, and action.
Hello, I'm James Bone.
Damn it.
I'm your dentist.
Yeah, I just came in for a wisdom tooth surgery. I couldn't help but notice your faucet was still running down here.
Oh,
and
you
my
can
feet
come
are kinda
down
wet.
here. You can come take a seat. We've got lots of chairs. You don't have to
Okay.
worry.
Yeah,
What's
but
what's your name?
my name's Jonathan.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna write that. I don't like that. I'm gonna write down Professor Pimpleton.
Okay, well that is my formal name that I wrote on my
Yes.
incoming sheet.
Take a seat. Take a seat. Do you have any tools?
My feet are really wet right now. I'm kind of concerned that some of the electrical cables around here for your
No,
tools
there's
are
no electricity in England.
Oh,
There's no
so we're just going all
electricity.
manual then.
Yes.
I noticed
These
some
are-
flyers sitting there.
No, don't worry. What do you wisdom? Wisdom teeth?
Yeah, just
Don't
just two
worry.
of them, two on the left.
Some of your other teeth will fall out, and the wisdom teeth will come right in.
So you're pulling my wisdom teeth.
No,
Not my
we'll
other
get.
teeth.
They'll come and they'll fill. The wisdom teeth are good teeth. You want wisdom?
Okay. Dr. Bone,
You grow up?
I noticed you had a 4.5 star rating. It's why I came to
Oh,
you.
I'm
but
not a
I'm
doctor.
noticing that it's very wet down here.
Yes.
There's rust on your pliers.
Yes.
You're gonna use rusty pliers on my teeth that aren't my wisdom teeth because my wisdom teeth are going to replace my teeth.
Did you go to dental
Okay,
school?
all right,
Did
yeah,
you go to dental school?
I'm not. No, I didn't. But I'm a professor. I'm actually a professor of mouths. I'm an
Oh.
oral professor.
Oh, did you go to Liverpool?
Yes, I went to the Liverpool
Oh,
Oratory.
I'm from London.
Yeah, I'm American, but I lived in Liverpool since the age of 6.
Oh, American.
Yes.
You have so many laws, and we have kings, and we princes, and other countries come see us, and France and Genovia, and you just sit over there with your constitutions and your dental
Okay.
schools.
Well, I will point out on the 6th rule in the Constitution is actually an anti-rust law, and I'm still a little nervous about the pliers being so rusty.
Well, we're in England.
Anti-rust laws are very important across the pond.
And scene.
Ryan's like 3/4 of the way through that. I'm from London with princes, and we don't have many laws. Sounded like an inane, honestly, Trump ramble. Like, we got laws, we've got queens and kings and
And
queens.
they don't have any. And by the way, well, great job, guys. You guys inhabited the characters. You named the characters, so
Yeah.
that was good. I connected with them a lot more. Like I could see the scene.
You said give the
Bone.
character name, and the first name that pops in
Yeah.
my head was James Bond.
Yeah, James Bond. So that was great. And
With a D, I thought it was bone. B-O-N-E.
I heard
oh
that.
yeah, it's his
I'm
Wolf's
James
accent.
Bond.
And just some notes, Ryan. Great accent as usual.
Yes,
Joe,
thank
if you can work in more accent work, I think that would have really colored in the scene.
Okay.
So maybe just try that.
Yeah, next time. I
yeah,
did
next-
go lower, which is like,
Yeah, that's good. That's good. But like with an
I don't normally
accent,
talk like
Ryan's giving an accent, so that always makes the scene better.
Yes. And my jokes are only the fact that I have an accent. There's no actual wordplay or comedic
well-
timing.
Do you guys know what the Sixth Amendment is?
it's an anti-rust law. That's what it is.
Have you been paying attention?
I think Teddy Roosevelt was really into those. Okay, I think we've did enough improv for one day, guys.
You guys were like, let's do 6. And then you hear
Let's
me
do-
do
I
another
think
one, and you're like, that's enough.
Because I'm thinking of like how much that's a lot of time for because I think we normally do like 3 improv skits. We did 4, and I think if we do 6, I feel like people, they're listening to Princess Diaries too, and they're gonna hear these guys doing
the benefit of hindsight.
Yeah.
You could just cut like all of them.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Well, I'll keep the good ones in post for sure. So the ones, the ones that are gonna be left in the edit are gonna be the best ones, and the ones that are not in the edit are gonna be the worst ones that we deleted.
The episode is going to sound like, let's do improv. Joe is here. Anyway, this is the summary
Back
for
to the
Princess
movie.
Diaries.
It's really hard to do improv over audio because like
Yeah.
a big part of it to me is like physical characterization, and it's just weird to me that because of the pandemic there's been like 2 years of all audio improv, and I see some of it on YouTube when I'm looking for places to audition, and it's all so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, believe me, we know how bad all audio improv
We're
is.
responsible for a lot of it.
I feel like pound for pound, I feel like we've done like more audio improv than a lot of people.
And by percentage too, like all of our improv has been both audio and terrible.
Yeah, I've actually only done.
I like the Goose on the Moon one. That was
a good one. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, exactly.
With the robot. See, I remember that one.
Oh, nice. Yeah. The well, if SNL ever hires us and they ever like go remote again, I think we'll have a good chance.
For the next pandemic.
Yeah, for the next one. Do you guys want to get into the movie? You guys want to get into Princess Diaries 2, the squeakquel?
Yeah.
Joe, you picked out Princess Diaries 2. And,
you have to review it, nerd.
You said you were down to do a synopsis. Do you want to give it for the episode? Are you feeling confident enough?
I can do it. It's just weird because I watched the movie and I was like, you asked me to do the synopsis, and I was like, yeah, sure. Then I watched the movie and I was like, this task at hand is too much to bear. I went to the Garden of Gethsemane and like I was like, Lord, please take this cup away from me. But,
listen, it's you just got to lead into it. We've done a lot of challenging movies. The most important thing is to capture the soul.
Yeah. So basically, I will do that now. The plot synopsis of Princess Diaries 2. Is there a subtitle?
Royal Engagement.
Princess
The Royal Engagement.
More princess.
So Princess Diaries 2, we catch up with our main character, Princess Mia, right where we left her, except we don't because it's 7 years later, and she's done with college. And she's moving to Genovia, and she finds out that she's not allowed to be the queen unless she finds a man, because sexism. And that is the only important part of the movie. And then we just follow a series of bits in Genovia that have nothing to do with anything, and they could have been in any order whatsoever. It's all just gags.
You're imparting a lot of
okay, yeah,
charged.
We can't do the review and the synopsis.
I'm literally
straight
reading
down
this
the middle.
off of Wikipedia. This is the plot synopsis off of Wikipedia. It's a series of gags ensues where nothing important happens.
Okay.
And then Chris Pine is there, and basically so she has to choose between two princes. One that she could be in love with, who's also the bad guy / good guy / bad guy / good guy, and then the guy that she's supposed to marry because of being on paper. She has 30 days to marry someone, so she has to choose someone to fall in love with in 30 days.
30-day fiance.
Yeah, and
I feel like in 2022 this is well-worn territory for a lot of us. We're like, yeah, what's the big deal?
Yeah, I mean, I think that just about sums it up, Joe. Like, watching this coming off of a Love is Blind marathon, literally the night before, was really surreal. Because I feel like, that's a show, if you're not familiar, is where people, like, don't meet each other in real life, and they go off each other's voices, and they try to get married within, like, a span of, like, 5 weeks. And seeing that, and then seeing this movie was like, oh, shit, like, this is the same shit. It was a bit kind of like reality TV. I mean, she's, like, speed dating. She finds this interesting this dude who she gets engaged with initially. Not a bad guy, honestly. Seemed like a pretty chill dude, Prince Jacoby.
He's a photographer, yeah.
So
cool.
Chris Pine was in this movie, and he had the worst haircut of all time.
Oh my
I was
god!
like, how do you make
So
Chris
bad.
Pine ugly?
Well,
Like,
see, and that's the other thing. And I was like, is Chris Pine actually ugly? I guess I thought he was like swooned over a lot, like when we were in high school and stuff, because he was in the Star Trek movies and everything.
He's a good-looking dude.
Yeah, but
He
like
is now.
he did not. He must have had a glow up or something. Because I said this during the movie very loudly and very accusatory, and Julie said, "You need to write that down." Because I said Chris Pine looks like a Sour Patch Kid left in a hot car.
The weird thing is that like we were looking at it and realizing that part of it is his hair, because normally his hair's a lot lighter now.
Bad.
Right.
But then it's also just the cut of his hair just frames his head weird, because he has like that
Floofy.
like 2000s side hair
Yeah.
And
that's normally just like flat cut now.
I said this when he was wearing his glasses.
Oh,
Because
these look so bad.
he was wearing glasses and they were like literally less than 50% up his head. And it looked like he was like Megamind.
Well, and then like the other thing about it is that like I thought, yeah, that's just a bad haircut. But today I saw Andrew Garfield with the same exact haircut and he looked great with it.
Well, that's just
It
Andrew
might
Garfield,
be-
baby.
It might be head shape. I mean, I noticed like a lot of people who are models or like people who are actors, they have strange looking heads and faces. And I think maybe that's part of it. Like Chris Pine, you know, he kind of has a strange face and head shape. And I think that kind of like morphs all together into like this overall attractive looking person. But maybe when you look at it in a certain light or a certain angle, you're like, that does look kind of fucking weird.
Well, let's like, before we dig into his looks too much, let's talk about his character a little, because I thought it was kind of weird that his uncle was like, so basically, this is not a spoiler because the music spoils it for you instantly. There's an older guy in Genovia who's trying to usurp the throne, and the minute he walks in, they have like this Darth Vader dark music in the background that's like, dun. It's like Jaws, and it's like, oh, well, he's the bad guy, and then he's trying to get his nephew, who's Chris Pine, to seduce Anne Hathaway so that he can take the throne, Princess Mia. So basically, like, his uncle is evil, and then Chris Pine is like being kind of forced into like helping him take over the throne. But for most of the movie, Chris Pine is reading a book in a garden. Like literally half the movie is him
What
just
a
being
stud.
like, I have the life. Why would I want to change this at all?
Yeah, and his uncle too, like that actor, he was giving I thought a hilarious performance as an evil villain. It
Gimli.
seemed like his intro was that Gimli? Was that the guy who played him?
Davis, yeah.
Oh shit, yeah. He was like, you should be more careful, Princess Mia. Someone might try to take that crown away from you. And like she walks away, he's like, someone like me. Like I just thought that was so funny.
He said it out loud.
I think he was going to say it to her before she walked away. I think he was going to be like,
You think he was just gonna straight up say it? He was gonna out himself instantly.
He's like, dang, she walked away. Well, I was gonna out myself as the villain. She walked. Why would she do that? I wasn't
me.
done.
Guards, hello. Does anyone care?
Oh, and then speaking of that, the maids, like the maids, like halfway through the movie, they're like,
Yeah.
he's trying to take the throne, and then they're like, yeah, and it's like they should probably tell someone that, and then you find out
Probably.
that security already knows, and he's like, security is like, the maids know everything, and I was like, so you know this, and you're just letting it happen.
Maybe they got it under control. Because I feel like Joe had his finger, the security head of security. He had his finger on the pulse the entire time.
He's in the Matrix,
nothing,
dude.
Nothing
he knows
actually
everything.
bad happened, I think, to Mia other than like embarrassing scandals. But like she wasn't assassinated. You know, maybe there was a bunch of other angles this evil dude was trying to work, and maybe they were working on it behind the scenes. Like there's a separate Princess Diaries movie from the perspective of Joe, where it's a whole espionage thriller.
I actually think that there's an even deeper cut with Joe, where so he in this movie, so in the first movie, you can tell that Joe, the main security for Genovia, has kind of a relationship with the Queen, and in this movie, he's like, "Yo, Queen, your husband's been dead for a long time," which actually we found out today. I was watching with Alexis. Her friend tells Mia, "Your dad's been dead for like 2 months. Get over it." So actually, yeah. Anyways, that's like a whole side thing. But
Wait, her dad, King Rupert.
yeah. So
Wait.
King
basically,
Rupert, may he rest in peace.
not the grandfather.
Joe has
Grandfather's
been
been dead
in
for a
love
long
with the
time.
Queen for a long time. But my question is, has he, or is this the longest con that he's been stuck in?
Oh, man.
Oh shit! He might be the Machiavellian villain.
Yeah, like there's another cut of this movie where Joe kills the king and then just like spends 20 years trying to get the Queen like into a relationship with the Queen. And he's like, yo, when are we making this public? When am I going to rule over Genovia and own all of the pears in the world?
But he did wait though, because he was like, after you abdicate the throne, then we could make our relationship public though. So he wasn't in it for the fame and glory. He just, he was in it for love, man.
And money.
And
Yeah,
and
the
a little
money
bit of
helps,
money.
yeah.
And the money helps. But the Queen was like, he's the only man I've actually loved, because her marriage was arranged.
Yeah, that's some deep stuff.
Yeah.
Like this movie was pretty much, I think, more Disney-fied than the first one.
It had like 25 Disney members in the cast.
Raven Simone, yeah.
But like the things I actually liked Joe in this one, like being kind of a assertive mother hen, if you will, like about everybody, and I don't know. I like Joe.
I can hear the chickens in the background.
Yeah,
saying
I've
mother
been saying
hen
mother
is,
hen.
yeah, we get it.
I've been saying mother hen all the time.
I like when he has there's a snake that they use to try to scare a horse that Princess Mia is on, and then Joe has a conversation with the bad guy, and
So good.
they have this like back and forth, and you're like, oh, who's gonna win? It's like an epic rap battle of history, but it's two guys of fake history, and they're not rapping, so not like that at all, but still epic. That's the only thing that carries over. And they're arguing, and then the final thing is Joe just gives the rubber snake back to him, and he's like, I think you forgot this. And then he just
That was
walks away,
so
and it's
good.
just like,
Mic drop, yeah.
oh, Joe's the best guy. Joe's the coolest guy, and I've got a little bias there, obviously, but
Good, your name, yeah, of course. I mean, his line where the evil guy was like, "Fear is not in my vocabulary," and he's like, "No, but it's in your eyes." And I was like, "Oh man, oh Joe."
Joe's a gangster, dude. I think that's what it is. Joe's like ex-mafia.
Oh, you think so? You think he iced the king?
No, I think he's like from the
Oh, yeah,
underworld,
right.
and he's a tough guy, And so they brought him in. It's like, you know what, you do your 20
Yeah.
in the castle.
In service of the queen herself.
oh, he's got like a little bit of like a
Hey,
fake
wait.
Abagnale Jr. thing going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Hired this guy and then the king died. Shit.
Yeah.
You think that's a coincidence?
Yeah. It's one thing I noticed immediately from the get-go of this movie. It is kind of Anne Hathaway's voiceover, and it's nice seeing her back in this role again, because I think we've been jumping around the timeline and just seeing her back as as Princess Mia again. But she, like, the first line she says is, "I can't believe it's been 5 years since the last movie." Basically,
I know.
And I was like, God, okay,
hated
we're
it.
doing this
I hated it so much. And like they literally use footage from the first movie
to kind of
and
explain.
they tell you everything that must have happened and like why certain characters aren't there. She's like, this character isn't here because he's doing this. I thought that was like,
gosh.
it's the worst way to like explain what's going on. It's literally just telling and not showing.
It's the same thing. Why is this movie called The Princess Diaries? We did actually see a diary in this movie,
Yeah.
and it was hers, so that's
was hers.
okay.
But only one.
So
but-
it's still not right. It should be Princess Diary.
But yeah, she
More
was,
like-
just-
yeah.
she was reading her own diary entry. When that scene went on, I was like, I've read a diary entry that I wrote in the past, and
Well,
it
was
reads
it
like
her
that.
own, or
it
was
sounds like
she
that shit.
reading? Was she reading her dad's? Like, was she writing in her dad's diary that she got at the end of the last movie?
Well, that'd be kind of fucked up,
Because
wouldn't
then
it?
she's probably just reading her dad's notes.
No, because she
It's
was
been
like
5 years.
that was,
She's they're living in a
wow, my
time loop.
dad.
What if Princess
Life is a
Diaries
lot like
in a
just
mine.
band. I mean, her dad was definitely not talking about Jake and his very cool band that he's touring with. But I mean, in that defense, when I saw, this was the one I saw in theaters, as I said last time. I did not see Princess Diaries 1 beforehand. So that exposition really helped me follow the
You
story
needed it.
when I was 10 years old. Yeah. So I think it worked for me as a 10-year-old audience member. And honestly, this is rated G. Like, this needs to work for a certain audience. Like, they're not having like mid-20s dudes who just go there and be like, oh, that didn't make sense from a narrative perspective. They wanted like an easy way to show it. And 3 years ago for kids, which was like, I think when last Princess Diary came out, that's a long fucking time. Like, that's a huge part of their brain development. So I think they might need those dumb visual cues because kids are dumb, I guess.
There's a really interesting thing that happens at the very beginning of the movie where it says screenplay by Shonda Rhimes.
Oh yeah, of Bridgerton.
And I was like, oh, so Bridgerton is not her first go around of like writing a fake country and doing a bunch of like princess stuff. Like,
Yeah.
this is like the precursor to Bridgerton, and it's just as goofy.
It kind of is, right? Because Bridgerton, which I haven't seen, but I've just been kind of around people who've seen it, it's kind of about like an eligible bachelor and a bachelorette. Like, they're trying to get together, and it's a fantasy land. So this is kind of pre-Bridgerton. And doesn't Bridgerton have like a similar actor, like the same actor from something like this? Like, Or am I off?
You're off, I think.
But that's what I'm curious. Did Shonda Rhimes write the first one too, or did they like?
Okay.
Because I didn't see anyone. I didn't see.
If only
who
there
wrote
was
the
a
first
way
one.
to find out. Like if we had this
I just looked it up.
internet movie database where we could like
Julie Andrews
compare these
was
things.
was cast as the voice of Lady Whistledown in Bridgerton.
The voice.
Yeah, I
Who's
guess
the
I haven't
body?
seen it. I think they had another actor.
What?
Well, Lady Whistledown is like she's like a young. I've literally only seen like half an episode.
Okay.
But I think that it's kind of like a Gossip Girl situation where they're like no one knows who Lady Whistledown is, so the voice is like Kristen Bell in Gossip Girl, but it's literally someone else.
Spoilers.
And then in this show, it's like it sounds like an old lady, but it's really like some young person.
Wait, so is Julie Andrews in Bridgerton going like, spotted Lady Andrews outside there with Mr. Rogers? Like, is that kind of what's happening in there?
Yeah, she's like talking about all of the drama. So.
That's amazing. I'm gonna fucking
They
watch
should
that
pull
show.
Genovia into Bridgerton. That would be interesting.
Same
We'd
universe,
get some like
same
history.
That's what they're
writers?
setting up.
It's like a prequel.
You guys remember that scene where Anne Hathaway's like first dancing with all the suitors, and like she's dancing with all the suitors from all the other countries, and like these eligible bachelors, besides Chris Pine, are fucking throwing it down in an insane way with her, like throwing her body around like a rag doll, doing jazz splits and like all this crazy shit. And Chris Pine's like, oh, I'm gonna dance like a regular human being. But she had like 8 dudes before that doing like just this wild shit. And I'm like, what is wrong with these guys? Does this area have lead poisoning? Like, what the fuck?
Well, I
So
think they were
a
from other
quarter of
countries.
the scenes in this movie that are princess related are all scenes that are doubled down in Frozen.
Really?
Including the dancing scene. Like there's
The
a
dancing
dancing
scene was in
scene
Frozen?
with suitable bachelors in Frozen. There's a coronation scene in Frozen. There's just like so much of this movie that just got repeated in Frozen. I was
Well-
like baffled.
Aren't they both like a take on Cinderella?
No, the Frozen is the Snow Queen.
Well, Joe's really into the Disney lore. I mean, look, this movie made $134 million.
What?
So off of a 45
What?
mil budget.
Wow.
Yeah,
We, dude,
this movie was
guys, we need to write a
They
freaking
doubled
Princess
down and it
Diaries
fucking
movie.
worked.
It did work. Like it was a critical failure, but like they don't care, dog. They made such a huge amount of money back. Like
Yeah, it's
my
for
ass saw it,
children.
and I wasn't the demographic. Like I wanted to see
I
fucking
guess
surf
if
ninjas or
Finale
something.
saw a princess movie, we probably should have guessed that it made money.
Yeah, like that paid for a ticket, and like there was a lot of hype around this movie too. Like I remember seeing the shut up scene over and over again on TV, like when Julie Andrews did it. It was like a big deal when this came out.
I used to get a lot of VHS tapes, like Disney VHS tapes or DVDs from the local library, and Princess Diaries 2 was like an advertisement on all of them. And
Yeah.
there's like literally only one line from the movie that I remember, and I say it all the time. Like I've probably said this like 200 times in my life, but the scene where the hairdresser says,
But a
"But
very,
a very
cute
pretty
moose.
make all the boy moose go wow," because they put that in the ad. And so like that's just something that's stuck in my brain from watching advertisements on VHS tapes and DVDs for like 5 years straight.
Oh my god. I loved all Apollo scenes where he's like, I'm so confident I used my own face for the before and after. Like, I fucking love that, dude. But I looked up the box office for that weekend that came out, August 11th, 2004. This sucker opened #1 that weekend, beating out everything else that week, including a certain Tom Cruise movie called Collateral and The Village
Collateral?
and The Bourne Supremacy. So this thing was a monster.
Wait, hold on. This beat Collateral, The
Yes.
Village, and Bourne Supremacy, which is the
and The
second
Manchurian Candidate.
But what weeks were those films in? Because this could have been like the only thing that was like its opening week at the box office.
Yeah, but this is like peak summer. Let me see
August?
Collateral.
Yeah, I guess.
Collateral came out August 6th, so this is pretty much the first weekend for Collateral. Yeah, and like when I was at the theater, I was like, I want to see Collateral, Mom, and instead I saw Princess Diaries 2. So like I think some of the Collateral
How old were you?
fans
I don't
who
know if
couldn't
you should
get
be
in,
watching Michael Mann movies.
we had to go see Princess Diaries, and I think that's like the spillover from that. I think kind of helped the movie as well.
I think your mom made a good
Nice.
call not taking a 10-year-old
I haven't
to
seen it.
Collateral.
Still haven't seen it.
Oh, man. We need to do a Collateral season.
Dude, Collateral was another one of those movies that was on a lot of DVD advertisements where I was like, that movie looks scary.
Isn't that was the first movie where they made Tom Cruise look old?
Yeah.
Right. What? So okay, I have a question about Genovia's system of government, because we talked about kind of Genovia as a country, but the queen, there are term limits, right, or something like that, because once the princess turns 21, the queen then has to step down legally. Is that kind of the deal?
Mm-hmm. Well, this is my question. I thought it was 18 in the last movie.
Yeah, I think
Ryan
it's 18 for her to make
expert.
a claim. Yeah, Ryan, what is the laws for?
Oh,
for
the
queens?
law of Genovia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's,
Are you
I mean, you
versed
probably
in
have the
Genovian
most-
law?
I actually have no clue how monarchies work.
I
I just think you have to bang a cousin and you're pretty much good to go.
Fuck
Nice.
yeah, bud.
I mean, I think it's like she had until 18 to make the claim, at least for her title, and then when she turned 21, that's when the transition needed to happen. But then, like, they brought back this obscure rule, which was the premise of the movie, right? Where they're like, okay, since she is like a woman, she has to get married in order to become the queen, and it becomes a whole scene where they're like, well, if she was a fucking dude, like, she wouldn't have to get married to get the throne, and then basically all the old men stand up in parliament, and they're like, fuck you, she has to get married, and that's like the setup for the movie.
I
think
was
there's-
totally not expecting this to be like
Yeah.
a feminist movie.
And
Not even a
that was
feminist,
actually-
just like
yeah.
equal rights.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's honestly what. Yeah. So I think I kind of liked that aspect. There was somewhat of a social commentary. There was a moment where a gay joke almost happened, but then they were just like, right on, and kind of moved on, which I think was kind of undoing a little bit of the slight homophobic references of the first Princess Diaries as well. And I think that's a benefit of the G rating as well for 2004, because we've been watching a lot of early 2000s comedies, and we've been seeing a lot of big old beefers on that.
I was
on those-
thinking about that scene,
Yeah.
and I was kind of nervous that I was like, because like back then, like honestly saying right on to a prince, because basically the way the scene happens in the movie is that
Yeah.
they're looking at eligible bachelors, and then Joe makes a comment that he says he's perfectly suitable and everything, especially for his boyfriend, and then the girls immediately say right on, and then they snap. So it was like a gay hurrah kind of thing.
Yeah.
For 2004, in a G-rated kids movie, that's kind of progressive, and it makes me kind of like think about like today when people are always like, oh, the woke agenda and all this garbage. It's
Yeah.
like, if that scene happens today, like people wouldn't think about it as much because we've moved forward in a lot of ways, but like there's no way that
Some people
Ben
wouldn't
Shapiro's of
think
the
about it.
world would be like, I can't believe this movie. They're trying to brainwash our children.
How dare they say that's okay? Ah!
Flip a table over, and like he's like, you should be mad about Princess Diaries 2. This movie made $134 million to brainwash your kids. But like, yeah, in 2004,
Yeah.
I probably watched that movie, and again, being raised religious and stuff, having a little thing in there is probably a good thing, and I
Totally.
give it a big thumbs up for that.
The other thing I liked about the movie too was aesthetically, like the fashion, the costumes. I loved the 2000 fashion that was in this movie too. Anne's like throw over knit and like kind of the pantsuits, like those were so fucking awesome. It was kind of like Clueless core fashion. I think you could tell they put a lot of fucking money into the sets and costumes in this movie.
Did you see the set from the airplanes? Like, so the airport scene
Okay,
when they
that was
first
the
land
CGI
is like
yeah.
Spy Kids 2.
Yeah.
There's just a
That
bunch
was
of like
stupid.
assets of like people out of the wrong proportions on this landing strip.
Besides those scenes, I mean, first of all, like the diamonds too. I heard those are actual historic diamonds that they used on set. They had like special bodyguards to guard them. But everything looked pretty legit. Like it looked like I was actually looking at some footage from like Windsor Castle or something.
So how much of the 45 million was of the budget was like on loan? Like how much of the 45 million was
Yeah.
to use those diamonds?
I think the Queen loaned him for clout. I
We've
think
got a
she was
trained
like-
sniper on Anne Hathaway. If she touches those wrong or drops them, she's down.
So there's a whole
Maybe
whole
we don't
movie.
need to shoot her.
There's a whole movie called Ocean's 8, also with Anne Hathaway, where she has a diamond necklace and they're trying to steal it from her. I think we could make a movie where they're trying to steal the diamonds from Princess Diaries 2. That's a movie.
So Anne
That's
Hathaway
Ocean's 9.
is an actor in Princess Diaries 2 who's trying to steal the diamonds.
Oh, just
that
like
she's
Ocean's
wearing in this
12
scene.
with Julia Roberts.
was that a-
Guys, hold on. That's actually thinking about that. I love
Yeah.
heist movies. I will watch any heist movie. That is really good.
It's a good idea.
That's a good idea. An actor who goes onto a movie because they want to steal something from the set?
Well, and also because Julia Roberts is in Ocean's 11, and she's not really in on it, if I remember correctly. And then in the second movie, she's in on it, and she plays Julia Roberts in the movie. And she's like,
Wait,
no one's
no
going to
way.
believe it's me.
Yeah, no.
So then if we did this one in Ocean's 9, Anne Hathaway could be like, no one's going to believe it's me. And then she's in on the heist in Ocean's 9.
That's amazing.
I rewatched Ocean's 12 during the pandemic, and I was dreading the Julia Roberts joke. But I thought it actually worked. Now, like, coming out, I was like, this is the cheapest joke. Are you serious? Like, Julia Roberts is playing a character and Julia Roberts in the same movie.
Yeah.
And but it works.
I know that this is like a little off topic with the stuff, but because it's Anne Hathaway adjacent, like my dream for Oceans is for there to be an Oceans 9 and 10 with the female cast, and then an Oceans trilogy that combines the men and the women, and have it be Oceans 14, 15, and 16. Like, that has to happen.
Yeah,
like
that'd
the
be
9 Star Wars movies, the 9 Oceans movies.
Yeah, exactly.
We could do an
Chronology.
Oceans. Yeah, an Oceans season at that point. That'd be fucking amazing. The budget probably would be like $1 billion, I think, with all those A-listers. But speaking of A-listers, I wanted to talk a little bit about Anne and Chris Pine's relationship in this movie, because I think her relationship with the first guy, Prince Jacoby, was like nice. I think it was kind of like, so they had nice scenes together. But the chemistry, I think, with her and Chris Pine really worked in this movie. What'd you guys kind of think about their interactions and scenes?
Yeah, I was surprised to know that this was Chris Pine's first movie.
Oh yeah, his debut.
He was really good.
Yeah, I thought so too. Their comedic chemistry, I thought, was pretty funny, and they had a lot of good physical acting too that might have been slightly improv. Like, there's parts where she's like hitting him with the fan as she's like talking, and there's a part that's scripted where they fall into a pool together, and I just feel like that all reflected really naturally, and like I believed the tension between them because of that, because it all hinges on that.
There's kind of a Captain America Superman thing that happens with this movie, where like with the Captain America movies, the Russo brothers have kind of talked about how like Steve Rogers and also Clark Kent as characters they're not perfect, but their morality is already kind of in a certain place where it can't be put into question, where you could have some kind of character arc or character growth. So you have to put them in unique, interesting situations that don't really make them grow, but that push those morals from an interesting narrative perspective for kind of the environment that they're in. So it's more about environmental growth, which is kind of a hard place to be in, because your characters can come off as kind of boring or wooden. But they kind of do the similar thing here in this movie, where it's like she's already like kind of comfortable with who she is. She knows what she wants and stuff. And so it's kind of the same thing, where they're putting her in a situation where she doesn't necessarily have to grow, but she has to do all of the legwork to convince an entire country to grow, particularly with regards to this super outdated law that just came back out of nowhere. And so like you're dealing with all of that, and talking about Chris Pine's performance, like he's kind of the surrogate for representing what the entire country is in terms of this outdated mentality. And so her goal through this movie, subconsciously kind of, is to get him to grow. And so like she thinks that he's, she finds out that he's kind of got this plan with his uncle and stuff, but by the end of the movie he's like, you know what, my uncle's actually wrong, and I'm actually going to let her do what she wants, and I'm actually going to give up my title so that she can do that. So that's kind of like what was really cool about his performance, is that he kind of has to show more character growth and have a little bit of a wider range in terms of what he's presenting on camera. And I thought that's one really scene that really is cool about this movie, because for the most part this movie is just random bits that don't mean anything, and that are like jokes without even callbacks later on in the movie. But there's one scene where he is like, she sneaks out to go be with him, and when they sneak out, they accidentally stay out all night, and then a photographer sent by his uncle takes their picture. And what I thought was interesting about this scene is that it's actually a callback to the first movie, because in the first movie she has that boyfriend who's Brink from the Hans Brinker's skating movie. Yeah.
Dude, thank you for mentioning
Eric
Brink.
Von Detten.
Yeah.
And he's like totally trying to kiss her on camera, and it's even her first kiss, and it's like really ewy. And it's just really a bad situation for her where this guy is taking advantage of her in front of the paparazzi for clout. And so then when she's reliving that moment where like Anne Hathaway kind of brings that in that scene where she's kind of like, oh my gosh, you've like played me again and I've already lived this. And then the interesting thing is they've actually flip-flopped it in this one scene where he's not trying to play her, and yet she brings that baggage with her and feels like she's been played. And then Chris has to be like, no, that's not what I meant to do.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a really good point, actually. Like, that's a great callback.
It's like
to
the
that.
only good scene in the movie because of that connection.
And I liked the fact that Chris kind of, like, his character kind of pushed her character, too. Like you said, like, his development also, I think, co-develops her character, or at least her persona as well. I like that push and pull. And
well,
I think
in both movies, she's given shit advice by her grandma that an hour and 40 minutes later, her grandma's like, oh, shit, maybe I shouldn't have told you to do that. Huh.
Well, the grandma
Thanks,
also
Jace.
has character development. Thanks for dunking on Julie.
Julie Andrews is kind of like, she
Sucky.
really channels Kris Jenner in this movie, too. Like there's this, like, she just like talks down to everyone in this movie. There's literally a scene where she walks in and she says, everyone's like, you're late, and she's like, a queen is never late. Everyone else is simply early. I was like, what does that mean? That's so mean.
I liked some of the Queen's zingers too, where she was like, "Remember, nepotism is for the arts, not for plumbing." And like, I thought that was a really great line. Amber wrote that down.
Don't understand what that means.
I think like basically, the guy who got the plumbing contract was through nepotism, not because of skill. So like the plumbing exploded. That's why she was like, "It took like a month to remodel this place."
But
and
why is that
nepotism's
okay in
for the
art? Wouldn't the
I
art
don't
suck?
think nepotism.
Yeah, but I don't think so either. But she's making like a cheeky comment, so
This
that's
is
just
my
kind of
this
the
is
thing,
my
yeah.
thing where I don't understand why it's okay for rich people to hire their relatives but not poor people.
And then also,
Well,
it's
I
like,
guess-
if nepotism is for the arts and not for plumbing, maybe it also shouldn't be for running a country.
Thank you.
Oh,
Because
Well,
I thought
that's
that's what they were saying by the arts. I thought that's maybe what like she was implying.
She has way less say, and that she still has, what are they? The council?
yeah, the parliament thing. But
they
she
have
is
a
like,
parliament.
Yeah. Okay. What's up with this?
I'm very confused.
Yeah, Anne was
they can
spo-
tell her what to do, but then Anne Hathaway then could be like, well, no, she just made a motion, and then they'll
But,
have to
like,
vote on it.
The first movie was set up as Anne's gonna basically rule this entire country, and she has to be ready. Why?
I mean, it might be like a multi-branch thing. Like we have a president. Like I mean, even the UK, they have a parliament and a monarchy. Obviously, the monarchy's been stripped with a lot of power.
Exactly.
But I
It
think
seems like
the
in this one
monarchy-
too.
The monarchy still technically has a veto power in the UK.
Chris Pine is literally reading books in a garden.
Yeah. By
So,
the
I
way, a callback to our earlier conversation. I think it's like estimated that there are like 21,000 princesses today.
What?
Something stupid
Oh,
like
I went
that.
to
Like
school with one.
a survey said something along the lines of like 7,000 princes in 2010. And
Jesus
then
Christ!
some convoluted multiply by 3 for some reason.
Wait, Ryan, you went to school with a princess?
I went to school with some princess or like a countess or something.
What was it like? Were they cool? You don't have to dox them right now. I mean, like I know maybe like I don't know what the princess law is like. If you have to keep it secret.
I don't know.
But do they have
either.
like servants or like do they wear white gloves?
No, they're like a normal person, but they would have to like leave and go to like Germany or something like that sometimes for like events.
Oh shit, that's awesome. Wait, what the hell? Like I don't think about modern royalty, I guess. Like what
Yeah.
is their lives like?
Rich people.
It's just
Yeah, rich people, yeah.
crazy
Well,
rich
it's-
people,
yeah.
who are paying full
Old.
tuition.
Money. I feel like Chris Pine, like in his notes for like taking any role, I feel like he has to have either an apple eating scene or a motorcycle scene. I swear to God,
He should do both at the same time.
eating an apple on a motorcycle because I feel like he's done that
or
every.
bobbing for apples on a motorcycle.
Or eating a motorcycle while riding an apple.
There we go. Now we're done.
He could do a John Malkovich, being John Malkovich type movie. It's like being Chris Pine, and he also says, "With all due respect, sir," in the movie as well. And I think you'll have the ultimate Chris Pine experience.
So you were like talking about sets and kind of the aesthetic of the film earlier with like the costuming. There are like for the most part, there's just like a lot of like 2-camera stuff in this movie, but there's a couple scenes that are kind of artsy and a little inspired. Like they have like some 1-point perspective Stanley Kubrickisms kind of in there. But there's also there's this one really cool shot of the bad guy where he's standing right in front of a dartboard and it's framing his head, and it's just like it's just really beautiful. It's like a good shot, and then it leads into that scene, which is just like probably like my favorite scene in terms of like teaching kids lessons, because he takes the dart and he like he's like, I can hit the bullseye every time, and then he just goes and like stabs it right in the bullseye, and his nephew's like, that would be cheating, and he's like, precisely.
That was
like,
a great
that's a life
scene.
lesson. I wish someone would have told me that when I was 13.
I think the good parts about this movie are kind of just proof of the example of you put enough chimpanzees in a room with enough typewriters.
Okay.
It's like eventually some art is gonna look good if you just make enough art.
Yeah, this movie is 2 hours.
It's 2 hours.
2 hours too
I thought I
long.
looked it up. and I thought it was 90 minutes, and I was like, no big deal. I started at like 10 o'clock last night, and then like an hour and a half in, I was like, whoa, wait a second.
Uh-oh.
And I like pull up the time, because I'm watching it on Disney Plus, and I was like, oh, there's like an hour left.
There's an hour of gags. One of the gags that caught me off guard was when they were at like kind of like this party, and someone's like, and now a special treat from our friends from Asia. And I was like, oh, excuse me. And then like they pan to this like blonde haired, blue eyed white dude who starts singing a song in Mandarin.
Yeah.
And I was like, who the fuck? And then do you
you
guys know who this guy?
No,
yeah, I looked him
I
up.
had to as well. It's
confused.
insane.
And it's amazing.
It's a dude that debuted, a guy that, did he move to China when he was 6?
Yeah, he's the first Caucasian pop star to find success in China. He sings all of his songs in perfect Mandarin. And he just like, I think he's from like Los Angeles. His name's Johnny Blue, but he just entered the music scene in Hong Kong and then just like did completely all over there. And he entered like this like kind of Chinese, like America's Got Talent, and like just started singing pop songs. And people were like, holy fuck, this is amazing. It like became a humongous star over there. And like, I guess he's just in this movie.
Yeah, isn't that still kind of weird? Like they're invited like one Asian person, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe this will go well. And then there's a white guy, and you have to Google it to know that the joke's not offensive. It's kind of a miss in my book.
It is, but I was like, it was so confusing because I'm like, his Mandarin is perfect. Like, he's not doing like some kind of really weird racist bit or something. Or it's like, I feel like he's making an attempt at this. But yeah, like apparently he's like a really fucking big star. And I was looking a bunch into Johnny Blue. It's like a bizarre situation.
So I have 2 things. There's one. There's like a YouTuber guy that's like really famous for speaking Mandarin now, and he has like
I know
YouTubers subscribers, and he like gives $5,000 to Chinese restaurants in New York. But that's all boring. So like the other thing is that like you're talking about the music scene. And I have no recollection of that, even though I watched it yesterday. But the one music scene I do have recollection of is the Julie Andrews one, which just is like, Alexis was telling me apparently she had like throat cancer or something, and this was the first time she sang in like 30 years.
Yeah.
That number is probably off.
Okay, yeah, Joe. No. That's exactly where I'm going to go with this. Thank you for saying that example, because I got in trouble, you guys. Julie, my wife, Julie, got legit mad at me.
Oh no!
I didn't even intend it to be Julie Andrews slander.
Okay, it's really unfortunate that your wife's name is Julie, and also you hate Julie Andrews. It's
pretty funny. It causes some
There's only
confusion.
one Julie in his book.
And because we were sitting on the couch watching the movie, and my wife tells me, this is the first time after her throat surgery. She had a problem in her throat. She had to get surgery. It didn't go well. It's the first time since then she's been able to sing. So this was a big moment for like the crew and for her as well. And I was like, oh, wow. That's okay. Like, whatever. Not really caring that much. And then Julie looks up or whatever. And she's like, yeah, so telling me trivia. She's like, yeah, so in 1997, she had the surgery. And I was like, oh, so that's like less than 10 years. And apparently I said that really dismissively as like, from my perspective, I thought it was like 30 years.
Yeah.
I thought like maybe since the 70s she stopped singing and she was finally able to like get her life back. Maybe she's been like struggling for roles.
That's a long time still, man. Fuck.
No. I know. Like 7 years is a long time, but
Yeah.
in my brain, I was like, man, you know, this woman was down on her luck for half her lifetime.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, and so apparently I got. She legit got mad at me. She was like, "No, I'm seriously upset. You're really being mean."
She thought you were just like, that's not that fucking long.
Yeah, but yeah, she had like cysts in her throat.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was cancerous, but I literally don't know. But
She's still alive.
They had to, they had to. Something
that
went
surprised
wrong.
Ryan.
I was legit. I don't know
he
these things.
He could still get his ass kicked by Julie Andrews one day.
She was in these movies like 60 years ago. You never know. And
She's
like,
probably watching this, and she's gonna come. She's gonna come for Ryan.
Fucking come for. I'm gonna be on Princess Diaries 3, and she's like, "Stop the movie real quick. Keep it rolling though."
let's not.
Ryan,
Let's be real.
you
She probably kicked my
motherfucker.
ass. But it's a critic's job to criticize, and that's what I
In
do.
my
I keep it
retirement,
real.
I've been listening to this podcast that sucks ass. Good Boys Gone Blind.
Yeah, I
Fuck
think-
you, Ryan.
I
Fuck
think
this
that's
guy.
one thing too. Is like I'm under no false illusions that what we do is good.
How do you like it, you piece of shit?
But it's
At
another
least
one.
I'm making money.
During the Ella Enchanted episode,
Yeah.
I went on a rant about how I hate scenes where the actors just stop and sing a song.
No. Yeah.
And so this was a double whammy for me, guys. Like that was probably my least favorite 2 minutes of the entire pandemic.
Well. Okay. Well, right. Let me ask you this: the scene where the inspirational scene where Mia's leading the orphans in a parade, and
Breakaway by Kelly Clarkson starts
Yes.
to play.
Did you at least like that scene? And she inspired the girl to stop sucking her thumb and be a confident princess. Did you like that scene at least?
Did Julie Andrews do that?
No, it was like a musical part of the movie where it's like, I spread my wings and then all the children are in slow motion and they're kind of like,
Oh, I don't think I was paying attention.
Guys,
okay.
you're still orphans, so
I,
don't.
I remember the orphan part where she goes up and she stops the parade and everything like that.
Dude, that was Abigail Breslin.
Yeah,
I know, that's crazy. And wasn't her brother also in this?
Yeah, he's the 12-year-old suitor.
That guy was a stone cold operator.
Wait, that's Abigail Breslin's
Yeah,
brother?
yeah,
Yeah, I
The
love
kid
this
from Cat
scene.
in the Hat.
yeah.
Oh, yes, it was. Oh my gosh.
didn't
Yeah,
know
because
that.
he's like, excuse me, Chris Pine, may I have this dance?
I feel like that kid was in everything. That 12-year-old kid was in everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Disney
he made
Channel
bank
And all
on
of a sudden,
star.
it's just
on it.
nowhere.
I mean, if I made like $10 million at the age of 10, I would retire at 12.
I do not think
And
that
just-
kid is be paying $10 million
Parents would have.
to dance around with Mike Myers and be this little playboy.
That's a
I
great
fucking
fucking
recognize
movie.
that kid. It's a.
Cat in the Hat.
Yeah.
We'll do a Dr. Seuss season soon. But yeah, I mean, I also heard, and this is on IMDb, so like this is, take this with a grain of salt, but I heard Julie Andrews did her own stunts for the mattress scene.
I heard that.
I know.
I saw that as well, and I was thinking there was a couple pro Julie Andrews propaganda in this movie, you know, and I did think that the mattress surfing was definitely a plus.
Was that her, though? Because they literally cut... If it was her, they did
It
her
was
a
cut
disservice
weird.
Yeah, I
because
know, they only
cut
showed
her
from
to
behind,
not
yeah.
show her face.
It was very obviously a stunt person, but I don't know.
IMDb,
Like, it's a-
man.
They probably had her, like, ride it, like, she's, like, on her stomach and goes down it, and then they're like, well, now we can say she did it. And
Totally.
then they just
No,
filmed it with
no,
someone
you're
standing
totally
up.
probably right. Yeah.
It's kind
There's
of a
no
dangerous
way
stunt,
because, like,
too.
imagine. Could you imagine she goes down on a freaking
Oh my
snowboard
God.
slope? She's breaking every bone in her body.
Did you guys see the security camera footage when the security guard is watching it? And
That's-
one of the guards at the bottom of the slide literally gets taken out by one
Yes.
of the kids right now. So
Was that scripted?
I don't know.
Because it was like a
Had to be
side
a stunt person. That person hit the ground. It was like, "Gah!"
because he got laid the fuck out on the solid ground, and I was like, that was kind of a big stunt. I hope that was for the real cameras. Yeah, that's kind of dangerous. Like, I feel like some of these actors, even if you're on a mattress going down a big slide, like, you could really get fucked up on those. Like, those mega slides at state fairs, millions die each year on those things.
Yeah.
That whole scene is just like, again, this whole movie is just a series of bits that have nothing to do with anything, that just like don't move the movie forward. And it's just like, it's just confusing. And like, the worst one for me was like, there's a guy in Parliament, and then randomly he has a brother who's an architect that's working on stuff, and I can't tell if it's the same actor or not. And then they're just yelling that they hate each other. He's like, I hate you.
Yeah.
I hate
Why?
you too.
Like,
I hate you. And then you never see them again until like maybe the wedding, but I don't even think you see them sitting together. So it's like you can't even tell if it's the same person or not.
I feel like it was the same dude. I feel like it was edited weird because I think there was just some kind of weirdness in between those.
But why include that joke in this movie?
That's exactly. It has nothing to do with anything. It's just like a who's on third bit.
Yeah.
It's like Charlie Chaplin directed this movie, and they're like, yeah, maybe he should have stuck to no.
And it's
audio.
not like they're like really pushing. They're hurting for content, because this movie should have been 20 minutes shorter anyways.
Somebody had to
Yeah, I
edit
agree.
this, and they were like, "This is the right length."
Yeah,
There's a 4-hour Snyder cut of this movie. There's a 4-hour Snyder cut of this movie.
I think. Okay,
Release it.
hot take. I think there should be a Snyder cut of every movie.
Yes.
Yeah,
There needs to be a uncut. Jace, down in front.
Oh, you can finish that. I have something after this with the comment about the Snyder Cut.
Please.
Should I just go? Okay, Joe, did you choose this movie because it has Stan Lee in it, and it's technically a part of the MCU?
No, I chose this movie because the list you guys gave me didn't include Bride Wars,
And
and I chose Bride Wars when it was taken.
second,
My man.
would Mia Thermopolis as a superhero be Mia Thermonuclear Lips? And she could...
Nice.
Thermonuclear lips. That's good. That's like an X-Men thing.
Segue. Lips, kissing. She kisses Chris Pine in this movie, and then she does the leg thing, and then she does it again.
Leg pop. And they don't
Another
even mention
throwback.
it. It's a throwback.
You
It's a
have
clean
to
throwback.
have seen Princess Diaries 1 in order to enjoy Princess Diaries 2.
And I didn't
The
get
racket.
it when I saw it in theaters. I was like, "What is this leg pop? Is it a throwback to something?" And I didn't get it.
I
for
don't
20
think
years.
I don't think you remember.
You weren't a
your-
12-year-old
I was like,
girl.
what's
that
going
were being
on here?
targeted with that.
The focal point of the scene is the leg pop. Like, what is going on? I was asking my friends, and they don't know.
Oh, but
So-
Denali, none of
Stanley's
us
cameo-
saw that movie.
Stanley's cameo does have a really funny name in the credits, because I was like watching the credits roll.
Oh,
and
yeah.
there's two interesting things about the credits. One, his name is what's the joke he makes in the movie?
Because it's like he's like from a different country or something, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he makes this joke, and it's kind of like
Like Spanish
it's
speaking
an-
man or something like that.
He
It's an
learned
innuendo.
to speak English from the Three Stooges.
Three
Yeah, it was some
Stooges
kind
loving
of-
man or something like that.
Yeah,
was
that's
like
what
a-
it was. It was Three Stooges joke guy. It was literally like it was Three Stooges joke guy, and it was just like, that's a weird name. But the other weird thing about the credits of this movie that I've literally never seen before in a movie, they put the cast in order of like location scenes.
Huh.
It was so weird. It wasn't like it wasn't like in appearance of order. It was just like
Lakeside scene.
slumber party scene, and then it was like the cast, and then it was like Parliament scenes, wedding scenes. It was just like that was the way they ordered the cast, and I've never seen that in
It's
a movie
actually
before. It
probably
was so
not a
bizarre.
bad way to do it.
It's probably better, yeah, for like, especially
Yeah.
some of these, just thinking about it from the Disney Channel's perspective, where you have a lot of maybe actors or talent who were in a specific scene, and instead of being at the bottom of the list, they're categorized in some way.
Yeah.
That's true. Like, they're like, "Oh, who was the person in that scene where they like yelled something?" The slumber, and you can kind of like see who it was. I mean, I bet you it was like a Screen Actors Guild type of thing where they kind of just like, because they negotiate that shit too, like
Yeah, I
where
don't know
you
if
show
kids
up on
or
the
SAG
credits.
members.
Yeah, it
Well,
might be
speaking of kids too, like we haven't even talked about the security guard intern.
Yes.
Hilarious.
Oh my god. What was his name? Lionel?
I think it was Lionel.
His name was Lionel.
What
He's
a
like, "I take a
hero.
bullet for you if you wanted."
Like what is his plot? Like you said, this movie has 20 minutes it can cut. You can cut all of Lionel from this
No,
movie.
you can't cut a
He
single
has-
second
Yeah,
of
you
Lionel.
could cut Lionel.
He has nothing to do with anything. The only time that really matters is the scene when he's playing chess and she's trying to sneak out, and they're just like,
Well,
really
I
incompetent.
thought it was funny that when Joe handed off the mantle of like, here, you're the next security guard, he chose glasses. He didn't even,
Shades.
he didn't even.
Please.
Oh, shades. Whatever. Who
Please.
cares? He didn't even choose Lionel. I thought that was kind of. I don't know if that was supposed
Why
to be
would
a
he
joke.
choose a high schooler? That's so
Shades has
fucking
been there for like
stupid.
30 years, man.
like,
He's not
we
gonna
don't
give it to
know.
Lionel.
But like,
Ryan,
I didn't.
do you ever have like lawyer interns where you're just like, you know what, you should be a judge.
All right, kid. I mean, like, there was so many side characters with so much recurring bits. Like you guys said, like, you have Lionel. You also have the two, like, assistants, or I guess they were, like, housemaids. But they kind of had their own Abbott and Costello type of, like, bits, too, where they would do, like, these, like, 1930s
curtsy.
Oh yes.
physical comedy.
Because remember, I texted you guys. I was like, "There's someone in this movie who has my London accent."
Was that the person?
Did you guys pick it out?
No.
It was the girl, the shorter of the two maids, chambermaids.
Was it a real accent, you think?
I don't know. I have no clue. Mine's not. And she said that she was like, Anne Hathaway jumps on the bed right when they get into her suite, and she goes,
Yeah.
"We just made the bed."
Why does because my girlfriend said that. She was like, would a 22-year-old in 2004 really like this bedroom? Because it's so
It sucks.
ugly.
I like the bedroom, dude.
Yeah,
I thought
it's
it was
got a lot of
tight.
space, but it's just atrocious in terms of decor.
I've been getting more into maximalist decor. Like, I'm kind of over mid-century because that's been the last 10 years. And now when I see like wallpaper and pattern shit and like tawdry bullshit, I'm like, fuck yeah. So
You can
I would
get,
love
like-
to have a royal ass disgusting bedroom like that.
Gold paisley, like
Molding.
what's the word? Gold, like some gold paisleys around your mirror, like some brass gold paisley frames for some glass mirrors.
Yeah,
So
just
the
like all the
put in your house-
clashing. I liked the aesthetic of it. I guess outside of like royal stuff, because royal stuff I think kind of grosses me out. I think this is like a weird pro-royal, pro-monarchy movie. And I think that kind of gets to like our diamond conversation. I'm like, I wonder if they were just loaned just on that accord. Because they're like, this movie's going to make people like the royalty and think it's a good idea.
Like Top
and
Gun.
yeah, turn an eye away from the tax dollars and shit. Because this is like a propaganda film. Like Top Gun.
Do you remember the queen's name?
Yeah, Queen Amidala.
That's
You
Star
almost-
Wars.
Yeah. Was it Queen? It was not
Because
Thermopolis.
you've seen two movies now, and if
Yes.
you don't know her name,
Okay,
by the
Joe.
end
This
of
hold
two
on.
movies-
This is actually a really
Rinaldi.
good point.
It's Queen Rinaldi.
No, her first name.
Fuck, man, come on.
If you
Joe
remember
only
Joe's
uses
name,
it
but
twice.
you can't remember.
I remember her name, and it is Clarice.
You
Hello,
looked it up.
Clarice. I did not.
I can see your eyes moving. You're reading a screen.
Queen Clarice Rinaldi.
Yeah, so I was watching this movie because we watched the first one last week, and I heard her get called Clarice by Joe, and I was
Clarice.
like, I thought her name was Grandma. She like was literally never called Clarice, and then when it came out, it was from Joe, and I don't know if it's Joe's look, but the way he says Clarice gave me like serious Anthony
Hannibal.
Hopkins, Silence of the Lambs vibes.
Very similar cadence. But I think their chemistry is electric, dude. I think that shit is hot, man. Like, they're dancing together, and he's like,
You're into octogenarians?
that shit was electric. And then the bow and arrow scene between Anne and Chris Pine, where he's showing her how to shoot the arrow.
No.
I wrote arrow in
man.
my pants. Ayo.
Did he?
That's my note. That's
Was
my
his
note
tip
on
right? Sorry, that's not supposed to be.
Yeah,
your
okay,
line.
so-
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
no, no,
but-
no, no,
but
no,
it
no, no.
was-
We're rewinding.
Probably
you
up.
hold the
His
bow
tip was
loose?
up.
No, okay, so this is my point, Joe, thank you. This is my point. So, I don't know if you guys know about this, but I did competitive archery for like 4 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I did archery hunting growing up and everything like that. And that scene drove me freaking crazy because apparently everybody sits downrange and they're just like, who gives a shit if an arrow goes in somebody's neck? Because imagine if that was a gun scene and she's shooting a gun and it is hitting like 3 inches away from people.
Oh,
Like,
sorry. Bang!
like one after another, and she's like, bop, 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 bop. Like that would not be funny. That would be like literally a
Yeah.
psychopath. And
It like hits like a vase right next to someone's head, and
Yeah.
like what, it doesn't like go through a bagel or something.
and it
Like,
keeps
it's-
and it keeps happening. And you
She
treat
shoots a tire.
bows in the same way. It's a projectile. You never ever point at anybody downrange. And like
If you're a peasant.
Yeah, but what about the loose hand thing?
so
Is that
and
true?
that's the other thing. So that's actually really interesting because apparently somebody was on set who knew what they were doing because everything about the elbow down to the mouth and the loose hand is one of the later tips you get. It's not like the first one. Like the first one you realize, okay, here's how you pull it back, here's how you let go, hold it here, and that kind of stuff. The loose hand is kind of like, okay, if you really want to dial it in and be consistent, that's the sort of stuff you need to be doing. And so,
from a bioengineering perspective, that actually makes a lot of sense.
It legit
the tighter
is,
you hold your muscles, the harder the steady state is. So
right.
like your muscles start to shake because of like basically it has to do with nerve signals. But yeah,
and like okay, well great. That's maybe that's why I don't know. I was a kid.
I'm just saying physiologically, there's a lot of science behind why a loose
like,
hand
Chris
will
Pine
give
was
you better
right.
aim.
You don't want angular force on the grip. You don't want to be squeezing the grip and imparting angular force with your wrist. You just want the string being pulled back into your hand to be keeping it in alignment. You don't want your wrists battling each other. And it's such a whiplash to go from like, oh wow, they really know what they're doing, to like gags. And it made me very angry.
But was
Ryan
Chris
takes
Pine giving
movies
okay?
very seriously?
Yeah, he was giving okay advice.
No, he gave
was
great
okay.
advice. That's everything he said was legit.
Well,
She
Chris
hit the
Pine,
bullseye.
In his defense, he wasn't there when she was initially shooting a bunch of people. Except he was downrange and he almost got shot in the head.
he
with
was.
the arrow.
The holding it at your
Yeah.
there with a recurve bow is not accurate. It's supposed to be a natural motion.
Okay.
But like, this depends on the bow. It depends on the person and what you're doing. But like, other than that, everything was fine.
Those are two different scenes. Recall. She
Yeah.
had a whole scene where she almost murdered 8 people, and then later on, when he's coming back to swoon her on a different day,
Right.
he decides to give her the tip after
Yeah.
she almost drills him in the head.
Yes, but
She's
why
like-
does
he's
he
like-
not care?
Well, there's probably a cut scene because this is again 2 hours. Probably has a Snyder cut. He's probably like, "Hey, I noticed
Shonda
you
cut.
almost fucking aced me back there. Like, here's how you shoot the target, and let's maybe move the target to the other side of the yard."
He doesn't seem
And
very
maybe
bothered.
that happened. He continued reading after like seeing death flash before him in a split instant, because that arrow was buried like 6 inches deep into the tree right by his head. But I liked the arrow scene.
I just realized that there is a connection between the arrow scene and the dart scene with his
They're
uncle.
Projectiles?
Well, because like the dart trying to hit the bullseye every time, and then he teaches his nephew to cheat, and then instead of teaching her to cheat, he teaches her like
Wow.
I'm trying to like put
I
something
mean,
she
together
hits
that
the
she hit
really
his
bullseye.
isn't there.
coronation.
But yeah, I mean, it is kind of interesting that there's a
That's a
there's
good
a
point.
motif of bullseyes in this
I don't.
movie.
Okay, let's be real. I don't think they realize that.
I think they did. There's a lot of great callbacks. I think Anne, she shot the bullseye and then undid the shitty Parliament law at the end. Because at the end, she kind of makes a motion and she's like, "Hey, this law sucks. You guys all suck for supporting it." And then the guy who like really advocated for it, he's like, "I was an idiot. She should not have to get married." And like, she hit the bullseye, man. She made a perfect speech. Maybe. I
I
don't know.
respect
That
what
uncle's
you're
like-
doing, but it reminds me of when high school teachers make shit up about motifs in books. That the author was like,
this
no,
is
I
a
just wrote a
chimpanzees
book.
and typewriters situation.
You think they recorded 18 hours of movie?
I think
then
you
just-
could have made an argument for the bullseye if there had been a giant bullseye at the bottom of the mattress slide. then there's a rule of threes there. But so far we only have 2 bullseyes in the movie.
Fuck.
Can you imagine if Julie Andrews had done her own stunts, but she was wearing one of those Velcro suits and went down the mattress slide and just like landed on a Velcro
And
bullseye?
stuck on the.
That'd be insane.
You think insurance would pay for that?
No.
For that in a movie? Do you guys want to get into our meters
Yes,
for this sucker?
please.
Let's do it. We're gonna do our Anne meters first. We're gonna rate the how much Anne was in this movie. You know the deal.
Is that what
We're-
you landed
we're
on?
s-
Because I literally only listened to the first episode. Usually I know.
Yeah, what do you think?
What your name is for your meter.
What do you think? I mean, I kind of pitched Hathawometer, but I figured we thought Anne meter was like
If he
a good.
comes
Like,
up
do you
with
have
a good one on episode 7, I'm gonna be so mad.
Yeah,
and,
what
and
do you-
you guys are like pretty far into the season, but it's not all released yet. So like, I just need
Yeah.
to know if you've made the go-to Anne Hathaway joke too.
what's the go-to?
It's like Anne Hathaway, Anne Hathaway.
When
Where there's a will, there's a way joke.
there's
Yeah.
a Hathaway.
there's a will,
Okay,
Anne
yeah,
Hathaway.
that's pretty good. Yeah, that's
That's
do you
too
have any
highbrow
meter
for our
ideas?
audience.
Yes, it's a little verbose.
We're more of pants jokes.
But you
Yeah.
did settle on Anne meter.
We just let Denali say the first thing that comes to mind at the start of it because we didn't really settle on one. So
How about this? This one is the royal ANNEgagement.
Oh shit, that's fucking good.
Put
How
that in the
engaging
episode
was this
subtitle.
movie?
The royal ANNEgagement. ANNEgage. It's a gauge too.
It's an
Oh
ANNEgage.
fuck, a
the
gauge.
ANNEgage.
We forgot about the word gauge because we were spending like an hour instead of the podcast trying to find another measurement device.
Yeah, you're welcome. 8
The royal
episodes in.
ANNEgagement. All right, it'll work for this episode. Jace, wait, who's the first? Jace, you've been doing it first.
yeah,
What you got?
I don't know.
For the
I watched
gauge.
this movie today.
Ooh.
Oh man.
One of my favorite scenes was at the end when she gave the address to the Parliament at the wedding, and I want to say chairman, provost, the guy, the support in
yeah.
the situation comes up to her and he's like, "You want to look at them sternly," and she's just standing there, and it's like the perfect like.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
blue steel.
and
She's
then-
like, ugh.
Yeah, and then he's like, not that stern, and then it comes back, pulls it back off a bit, and it just that scene reminded me that she was doing a lot of physical acting and really being herself this whole movie. Volume, obviously there. I don't know. I think like a 7.
A 7.
A 7.
That's a solid number.
It's not bad.
I don't. For her performance itself, nothing really detracted me from it, but it wasn't. I don't think it was as Anne-packed as.
Not as big of an impact.
Yeah, not as big of an impact as Princess Diaries one.
Well, have it your way. Joe, I'll have you.
That's a callback.
What are you thinking for the ANNEgagement?
It's tough because I think in a bubble, this movie. I know you've had another guest host on, and he watched the 5th Air Bud.
Yes. This
without
poor man.
watching 4 Air Buds before it, right? And you gotta wonder, Air Bud 5 in a bubble, that's a movie. But if you've watched 4 Air Buds before Air Bud 5, your score is gonna go lower and lower, unless Air Bud 5 is Avengers, which is why Air Buddies is the thing that exists.
Yeah, Air Bud season.
I think you could do an Air Buddies season at this point, but I digress. I think this movie is worse coming off of the first one, because I think the first one is a totally passable movie, and keep in mind this isn't a Disney Channel original movie. This is like a Disney in theaters movie. Princess Diaries, I feel as a movie is up there with like Lindsay Lohan and In the Parent Trap. Like it's that kind of movie. It's a totally passable, good, enjoyable film. And Princess Diaries 2 felt so much more Disney Channel than Disney theatrical release. And it was just like a massive dip in terms of like how it takes itself seriously and having a coherent plot, which should be like the bare minimum of a movie. Like that's the bare requirements. This was just a series of gags. I felt like I was watching a movie on TikTok, So it was just like, each scene was just me scrolling up to watch the next bit.
That's why I liked it.
Yeah, and then once my algorithm is trained, it's like, oh, you like princesses and and bow and arrows going into things like tires. So it's just like, if you like
And a
princesses
surprising
and
amount of
klutziness.
horses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we didn't really talk about that. The leg bit I thought was pretty funny. I thought
I thought it was fun. Yeah.
I thought that was good. There was a wooden
Fake
leg and a horse thing. It was a little goofy, but
I like that scene.
I don't know if you've ever tried to ride a horse with both legs on one side. Probably not the easiest thing to do, considering you could just have one leg on each side of the horse. So I think like by itself, maybe a 7, like Jay said, is fine. But considering that this is coming off the heels of Princess Diaries 1, which is so much better, I'd have to give this more like a 5 or a 6. And again, from last time I was on your podcast, I don't really do the whole numbers rating thing very often. So this is a really unique situation. I don't think this movie landed in terms of making me feel what it wanted me to feel, which was engaged. I was engaged for like maybe 20-30 minutes of the movie, and I was checked out for like the other hour and a half, which is exactly how long the movie should have been.
Well, to be clear, this is your Anne meter because we do a movie meter that's separate. So if you have a separate Anne
you can just
score,
cut this in post and just flip-flop them. But I think Anne really sells the movie. I think a lot of the performances in this movie sell it, and considering that she's the main character in the movie, Anne is really what sells the movie. I think even this movie in general was just like, oh, Anne Hathaway is popular now. We should make Princess Diaries 2 and cash in on $134 million on a $45 million budget. So I think Anne Hathaway is selling this whole movie, and she brings it the best way she does in all of her other movies. I'm just like so surprised to watch a movie like this and see Anne Hathaway like take it seriously and deliver lines that are super cheesy in a completely sincere way. So I guess I'll give it a 7 or an 8, somewhere in between there.
All right, 7 or 8, and then Ryan, what do you got?
I really don't know. This is like an enigma for me because like it's so hard.
Enigma.
Please stop. It's so hard.
He's on fire.
It's so hard to separate the Anne from the movie in this, right? Because it's about her. It's one of her early roles, and she's reprising a role. You know, I really can't knock her all that much. You know, except the movie sucked. So I've started to come up with this new rule where I can't give somebody that high of a score if they don't elevate the movie. And this movie is so much about her that I can't really like say that she elevated it if the movie sucked. So I'm gonna have to go with like I don't know. Let's go with a 4.
You know, she was in it, but she wasn't in the editing room, and that really is gonna knock her score down.
It's not
You
even
don't
that.
think
It's
that
like
she like carried her scenes?
no, I really don't. She kind of like I don't know. It's a Disney movie. She's supposed to like overplay it, but like I feel it's well-worn territory, you know.
So you settled on a 4.
Yeah,
is that right?
I'm
For
just
this
going.
one. Okay, all right, fair enough, Ryan. This is what we have.
If you were,
we have a
what
4
if you were
panel.
10 and walking into this movie instead of Collateral
Yep, exactly.
Oh, it's 0.
Kind of sing a,
without seeing the first one?
Absolute 0.
sing a different tune, I think. But yeah, I mean, I think you guys all have fair points here. I honestly, I really like this performance. I mean, this is kind of, she is reprising a role, like you guys said, but I think she is kind of advancing the role a little bit. With Princess Diaries, the first one, it was a very gag-heavy, very goofy, very on role. But at this one, I think it's a little more restrained. The subtext is that she's matured a little bit. This has been 5 years, and she's been kind of doing the princess thing for a while, and she's kind of a little more confident. She still has that original Mia goofiness, but I think it's a little more restrained, and it's a little more realistic. Like, it's more mature, and I found her more relatable because of that. The one thing that kind of threw me off a little bit about the first Princess Diaries is that I'm like, okay, this isn't like a real person. She's just kind of, it's a very like in-your-face performance. I think she pulled it back a little bit in this way, and it kind of came off, like you said, Joe, like very sincere. This was kind of a very genuine performance. It's hard to deliver some of these lines in a way where it's believable, and I think she really nailed it. I don't think another actor could have done it with this movie. This whole movie hinges on her selling this idea that she is just this awkward teen thrown into this scenario, and I think she fucking nails it. One thing I will say is that she's not in the movie, I think, as much, which is why I think I'm gonna dock her a little bit compared to the first movie. I'm gonna give her a 9. I'll say that.
Whoa.
I think this is a very good role for her. I think she did great within the role. I don't think the movie needs to be stellar for her to have a high score for this, because she's not in charge of the whole movie. I think for what she was hired for, she accomplished that mission. I'm going to dock it slightly just because I think the movie's focus was spread out a little more. Besides her, there was a lot of side characters, a lot of different things going on in here. But I think it's a pretty good Anne performance here. This is coming off, this is her last, I think, princess movie until she makes that the Anneissance, where she's kind of doing these critically acclaimed adult-oriented movies. But you know what? It's a good send-off. I would love to see her do a Princess Diaries 3.
I would too. In that movie, hate to break it to you, she would end up getting married to and having children with the musician.
Wait, in
That
so
isn't
she would,
even in this movie.
you think that's going to be the plot where she gets back together with Jake?
Well, that's how the actual story goes.
Wait, really?
But yeah.
In the books?
They were gonna make it, and then the
Wait, there's
director
really
died.
a book series? I thought that was a joke.
No,
No, that it is based on a book.
there is a story. Yeah. Well,
I actually think that gives a lot of room for an interesting plot for Princess Diaries 3, because her mom is an artist that royalty married an artist, and then they kind of ran off into San Francisco. So, you know.
You think that was a shot at her bio mom? Like when Julie Andrews was like, nepotism's for the arts, not plumbing, and you think it was a shot at Anne Hathaway's mom in the movie?
That's brutal.
where she's like she only has a career because we're royalty? You think that was kind of like a subtle fucking? Now maybe the character's expanding a little. Maybe changing Ryan's tune with Julie Andrews'
I mean,
performance.
you saw that giant warehouse they were living in San Francisco. You think rent's
Insane.
cheap there?
Yeah, exactly. Fucking billionaires. Jace, what'd you think about this movie as a whole? What's your movie meter? What'd you think?
Yeah, I thought it was a fat stinker. But at the same time, I realized we are reviewing a movie for 10 plus or minus 4 years, for the target audience. I think the first time I got a real genuine hearty laugh was the moose scene that killed me, and there were some emotional scenes before that were that moved me. But I don't think that they captured what they had in Princess Diaries 1. I agree with Joe. The scene and the setting and the way that it was enacted and that we were supposed to be in a different country. But the Queen has a British accent and the subjects all sound like Americans unless they're Italian or Greek. Like, you can rein that in a bit even for a movie for teenagers. Like... and that kind of just, I think it's like with the country is kind of like an amalgamation of bits, and it didn't really hit that well. But I thought the movie had some great messages as far as, pushing society forward. Anne Hathaway acting in a way that she needed to become a ruler or a queen and grow in and of herself. I don't know if I already said it. I wrote down 2 earlier. I'm going to give it a 3.
Generous.
It's like,
What'd you give? Yeah, PD1. Do you remember?
I think I gave Princess Diaries 1 like a 7. Yeah,
I think we like PD. Yeah.
I liked Princess. I liked the first movie. I liked parts of this one, like Chris Pine and Anne Hathaway. I enjoyed their performance together. I enjoyed their chemistry, and I enjoyed the uncle. But like having a 2-hour movie that I had to pay attention to and be engaged didn't happen.
Thank you.
It did not happen at all.
Instead, he was enraged.
Nice. Okay.
I was kind of pathetic.
Keep it going. Yep. And I feel empathy for your view as well. So.
He was so frustrated with it that he came onto this podcast and he was very animated.
I feel annoyed
Okay,
with
that was a
this
little bit of
bit
a
already.
Okay, Joe, what do you think about this movie? I mean, you already kind of gave a little bit of, but do you want to
Yeah.
just restate or?
I already said it. I think summing up with piggybacking off of what Jace said is that like the ideas presented in this movie are really interesting. I think it presents the ideas really well, and I think it has some really fun messages and some kind of important messages, especially considering it was 2004. You didn't really feel like that was really present a lot. That said, there's also a scene like this is really empowering for women. But there's also a scene where 2 women who are maids literally put pans on their heads and start, like pots, like big kettles over their heads, and start singing Frere Jacques to distract a queen from looking out a window at a woman who's hanging from a vine. And so this movie really wants it both ways. And I think that's what makes it suffer, is it's just like there's gags in here, and some of the gags are funny and some of the gags aren't. And it just really distracts you from really some of the more heartfelt moments in the film.
Fair enough. And what was your overall score again?
Well, earlier I gave it I think a 5 or a 6 is what I said.
Okay.
But that was because I thought Jace was giving it a 7 and not Anne a 7. I think now that I know Jace gave it a 3, I'll probably stick with a 5 instead of a 5 or a 6. Probably
All right, fair enough,
Because I
dog.
do think that like you can watch it
Can.
and laugh. But you can't watch it all at once and laugh the whole time.
Ryan, what do you got, man?
What do I got? Give me a second. I'm going to grab one of my friends over here to help me through the rest of this episode.
That's
I'm going
fun.
to get my friend Rosie is her name. You get
That's
to meet
fun
Rosie.
for everybody but the editor of this
Yeah.
podcast.
Wait, her name is Rosie? Oh, is she Order of the Rose from Genovia
Nice,
Oh.
nice,
from
Joe.
the first movie?
Yeah. I don't even remember the Order of the Rose.
It's for the people that
They were
they
going
were gonna have to they were gonna have to take her to jail, and then the queen was like, police officer and bus driver who were just crashed into,
Oh, that's
and the
right,
lives of
yeah.
all the people on the bus were put into peril. I'll give you a medal.
Yeah.
And then she
okay,
makes
okay.
it up based on a street name in San Francisco. I would have liked to
Order
have
of the
seen them. Were
Pair.
they at the wedding? That would have been cool.
Oh, yeah,
There were a
little
few.
throwback.
There were a few nods to characters that I was not
Privy
quite sure
Okay.
why. Yeah.
Ryan's got his guest.
I have my
what do you
guest
got there, Ryan?
Rosie. She's 6 days old. She is a little baby chick, and she's my
Oh, I hear.
favorite of the bunch. Oh, it's okay, girly.
Can you tell them apart?
Yeah,
do they have markings
She's very calm. She's shaking. She's nervous. She has
Well,
a
tell
problem with
Rosie
her
to
feet,
introduce herself. Oh,
so I can identify her. I can pick her out of the crowd. Hopefully, she pooped
we'll have-
recently.
Did Rosie see the movie?
Rosie did not watch the movie. I watched it before she got here. I don't think she would pay attention. Hey, bro.
well, Rosie. I mean, please introduce yourself, and then I guess just kind of what are your thoughts? Like, what are your thoughts about? I know you haven't seen it, but like, would you have an opinion to kind of put in? You've been listening to the conversation, obviously. All clammed up now.
Wow,
Huh? Oh, it's
okay.
okay. I mean, it's hard. Like, it's hard to do like
she's
podcasting.
talking. She's talking. It does not get into my sensor.
Oh, sorry, Rosie. Okay, cheap once if you like the movie. Well, there you have it, folks. That's a thumbs down, I think. I mean, there was a chicken chasing scene.
No, she's literally like.
Okay.
It's not coming through Discord, so yeah, this bit will work.
Yeah, she did cheap.
It's funny because it only registers when Ryan is talking, so you can
I
hear
think
her
the filter
keeping-
comes through the cheaping.
Okay, it's okay. Do you need
It's a chicken.
Okay, Rosie didn't like the
Yeah.
movie. She's telling me this right now. She didn't like the movie.
Yeah.
She's rating it a 2 because there was a social justice aspect, but she didn't like the rest of it. Everything sucked except the feminism stuff was cool. So I get the bonus point up from the base of 1, and that's all
amazing.
I'm
You
gonna say.
could-
I'm gonna put Rosie back.
Thank you, Rosie.
I would have liked to have known Rosie's score in out of a dozen.
Well, right. I mean, thank you for Rosie's score. First of all, it's nice to have like kind of
I
a
agree
wide
with her, by the way.
representative
I agree with
panel.
her.
Okay.
100%.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, you don't want to give your own. I mean, I want to open the table for
She
you too.
literally said every single
okay,
word I
that
was
took
going
the words
to say.
out of your mouth. Okay. Perfect. Well, awesome. I do feel like you're kind of stacking the votes a little bit, but that's okay. As far
Like
as
father,
this
like hen.
as far as this movie goes, for me, like I guess I'm gonna kind of go up against the mainstream grain here, and I actually like this a bit more than the original movie. I'll say that straight off the get-go. I kind of liked the tone of it a little better. It didn't feel so much like I mean, the first one kind of seemed like a Disney Channel original movie to me. I feel like it was a little goofier, and this one I think toned back the goofiness and kind of upped the stakes a bit, which I actually enjoyed. I liked a lot of the cinematography and the sets and the costumes. There was more characters playing in the movie, which I found entertaining. Even though the gags were kind of disparate and kind of had weird, tonal energy with each other. You know what? I had fun watching this gosh darn movie. It was definitely too long. 2 hours is insane for children to watch through, especially for a movie like this. I might watch the Snyder Cut if it's 4.5 hours long, just out of curiosity, but this should have been a tight 90. I think the villain was very funny in this movie. I think like a villain either needs to be understandable or hilarious in a movie, and I think in a way it was both. I liked the messaging of this, but also I think 2000s cheesiness, particularly in comedies, I think is its own flavor. Kind of like 80s action camp or like 90s satire. It has its own unique flavor to me that's fun to watch. So kind of like the really wet, like in-your-face humor to me is kind of nostalgic and fun for me to see. So I think that's kind of why it hit for me. So the reasons why it was probably a miss in 2004 is probably the reasons why I like it now. I mean, it's kind of like why I like watching like Predator now, even though it's kind of like a cheesy movie. It's just like there's aspects of it that I think give it a fun flavor. So for me, I'm gonna give it a 7. Okay, it's a flawed movie. It's not perfect, but your boy liked it. Okay,
So you liked it more than Princess Diaries 1.
I did.
What did you give Princess Diaries 1?
I think I gave it a 7 as well.
7.5.
7.5 Okay,
If
but
you
I'm
give
not a
this
very.
fucking movie an 8 right now,
It doesn't
because
deserve an
based
8.
on
I
what
don't
you
think-
actually said, I will leave. I'll disconnect and I'll end the recording, and I'm not doing an episode next week.
I think 8 would be too high, but I did enjoy this more, and maybe it's not as good of a movie. I'll
So
say
you
that.
gave it a 7.
I gave it a 7.
So you gave it a 7.
7. Yes, thank you.
He
Is that
was
what
just
you're waiting for
waiting
this
there
whole
for
time?
that.
No, I literally just thought of it just now. I just want to keep writing it out.
So if I gave it a 1, you would have been, oh, you gave it a wan.
No.
A 2-an. All right, we did it. We rated Princess Diaries 2. Let us know what you guys think. If you've seen Princess Diaries 2, it was a freaking big movie. You know, I think a lot of people saw it. It was 2 years afterwards. But thank you, Joe, for helping us digest this movie. It was fun having you on. Do you want to plug anything while you're on? Yeah, I mean, do you want to plug yourself? Do you want to like shout out your IG or whatever so people can check you out?
Yeah, so right now I'm just making some comic book. I'm a big comic book collector, so I've been doing some comic book collection stuff on TikTok and Instagram, and now I've been doing some comic book analyses. I don't really want to call them reviews. There's a lot of comic book reviewers out there. And I think that's great, and they talk about the series and stuff, but I kind of just like focus on like one specific thing. I just did one last week on the Flintstones comic book, which is actually about existential dread, putting Fred Flintstone in the face of like, hey, what is animal cruelty and unethical labor sources? So kind of like interesting stuff like that. Just kind of a little bit of a deep dive. That's at Comics Coda, Comics CODA. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. So yeah, you can check me out there. And yeah, hope you enjoy those.
Yeah, I'll say like I fucking love your TikTok videos. I really like the Flintstones one, but your Swamp Thing I think is your first one. I think is also like one of my favorites with Swamp Thing for president. Like I think that was amazing.
Oh yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. And then I do all of the music myself for the channel too. So. All of the music on there is original, and just do it all on my computer. So,
yeah, Joe's multi-talented, unlike us.
Unlike us.
So,
we don't even have one talent.
But with that, Ryan, you got the synopsis next week.
Me?
Yeah,
I mean, I thought it was off. I thought it was Jay's. I don't think this was a
Ryan's
good idea because we haven't watched Hoodwinked yet.
Oh no!
I loved Hoodwinked when I was a kid.
Well, that's why I want to watch it, because it's absolutely atrocious.
She's not really like a. If you're not gonna watch Batman because
she's the main character, she's red.
Well, yeah, but how long is she really in the movie? That's also just
that'll
like a
impact
series
the
of
score.
gags.
Okay, if we can already have this banter, then I mean this is a good pick. I'm picking Hoodwinked.
I think the "Oh Schnitzel" line in Hoodwinked is automatic 10 out of 10. Like "Oh Schnitzel," that's just like yeah. It's up there with
Spoilers.
"Make All the Boy Moose Go Wah."
Hell yeah, I'm psyched. I haven't seen Hoodwinked since it came out.
It's got everybody.
Sweet. Well, join us next week for Hoodwinked, Anne's first animated film, where she does voice acting. So that'll be cool. I didn't realize that was her.
Our first animated film.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, wait, we did All Dogs.
Oh,
Dogs Go to
that's
Heaven.
good. Good catch.
I watched that one.
Yeah, but that was an animated dog movie. It wasn't like an actor.
That's true.
Animated movie.
Those dog actors were good, though. Sweet, guys. Well, we hope you guys will join us next week as we round episode 8 of the Annestitution. We decided. Joe, what do you think of Annestitution? Do you like that one?
Yeah, I mean, I have this like grand vision for drawing every room of the house you guys were stuck in, and then you went to a hotel, I think. So
well, we went on vacation.
It was hard to come up with
and
more
now you're at the
metaphors.
Annestitution, and I'm just wondering, is that a house adjacent still, or
it's a Hathaway house where we're coming off
did
of
Hathaway
terrible
house.
movies and have to transition back and then into like normal movies.
Have you guys watched The Hustle yet this season?
No,
What?
that
No.
is. That's the problem. We don't know what
Food for
things
thought.
Is
are.
that a movie?
Food for thought.
Okay.
Anyway.
Is that a suggestion for future episode? We don't cement these.
Well, you guys only have 2 episodes left, so
We
it's
do.
like
Okay,
do or
yeah.
die.
Let us know what you guys want us to watch, guys. Just find us. You guys know how to get us nowadays.
The internet.
They're not going to rate us. You can keep this in there. I know they're not going to go on Apple and rate us.
We can't listen. We can't pressure them. They can rate us. Actually, don't rate us. I bet you guys aren't smart enough to do it.
Speaking of ratings, there is one last thing I wanted to say as guest, because I did notice that during the Princess Diaries episode, Jace shouted me out, and there was a review that you read of Princess Diaries by someone named Joe on Roger Ebert's website.
Oh, wait, I think I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Jace perked up and said Joe, and you said it was pretty undeniable that was probably Joe that rated this movie and gave it this weird score on Roger Ebert's website. And I just have to say, what year did that movie come out?
2002, 2001.
I would have been 8 logging onto that website.
Could you imagine?
and leaving
That's
a
so-
review.
With dial-up.
Pedantic and infantile.
So it definitely wasn't me, but I would have given it 4 thumbs up back then.
Yeah, you would have rated it high.
General Grievous, thumbs up.
General Grievous thumbs up.
Unexcellent.
So I just wanted to leave with that. I just had to clarify
Yes.
I was not that Joe. And if there's any Joe I
Thank
could
you.
aspire to be,
Yeah.
it would be the security head of Genovia.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, Joe. And as always, Lana got coned, I guess. Or what's another?
Why didn't they throw that back?
Should have
How do you fucking Lana got coned?